was never guaranteed.
It's not the time we start that matters. It's the journey.
The fact that we started all together.
Well, what's up, Internet? And hello, players.
The journey's our journey to start.
Start doling out HP demerits.
I would like...
I volunteer.
I volunteer as tribute. Hello, Internet, and welcome back, players. Last time we were all gathered together here in this sacred space, you guys brought the pain. You had made a very showy and illustrious charge in on summoned steeds. I'm going to have to ask where those went, by the way, to crash through the central doors of Flint's hometown's council chamber, basically the beating heart of this civilization's, or this city's operations, to carve out the invading forces' high command. You swiftly dealt with two mind flayers who were standing guard against the deeper vaults, taking some wounds in the process, getting a little bit of help from Will's mentor, who showed up with a convenient magical gem which he smashed to give you all back some vigor, and then pushed further in when you heard the kind of alien scream in your brain of the larger and in charge tentacle-faced invader, who then you pushed into the vaults behind the council room and made remarkably quick work of. There were some enthralled dwarves pulled out of cages to feed the mind flayer and throw at you all as distractions. You had a couple people creep in from the wings of the vault, and Blaskin's personality rapidly changed about halfway through the whole encounter. But the decisive blow, I believe, came...
Me.
Flint, did you get that on a second roll, or was that Tony?
Emily is the one that killed it with her level 2 Scythe Arena.
Because
she upcasted it.
Oh right, and we didn't roll both dice originally, and so when we rolled the second one, that was the last couple hit points.
Yeah, it was literally maximum damage.
And so the serrated holy scythe floating in midair found the opportunity to carve straight down through this thing's skull, at which point you all got a bit of lore dump and flashback through its recent experiences of making its way up to the surface and seeking out a new source of sustenance after draining a Underdark city of all of its inhabitants a little too greedily, bringing with it its own cater of mind flayer subordinates and other humanoid tools in its wake. And when we broke, all of the other hostiles in the area all kind of staggered at the death of the mind flayer, kind of gripping their heads and losing their kind of immediate kind of combat countenance. So when we come to, in this session, we're still in combat.
Yeah.
We left off on, you know, it's where the map always is. Do you need me to drop it in chat?
Well, found it.
No, you're in the vaults.
Yep. I found the vault, yeah?
Yeah.
Und you want to go to the vault with me, yeah?
So Tony, a couple other things that happened at that point. There were the kind of purple reverberating discs that had been in a couple different locations in the room. You could see the one at the altar in the center of the room behind the mind flayer. That had shattered, along with two behind these tapestries that are in the corners near Flint and the spiritual weapon. and then 2 had been high up on these pillars next to Blaskin and Tony. So all of those piles are just the kind of shattered remains of these crystal disc-like objects. And I need to replace some tokens because the enthralled dwarves you see on the map stop being all... I just need to grab a regular dwarf token because they lose their purple. That'll work.
But I like my purple.
There we go. I liked the purple too, but it only works when it's on. Okay, so that being the case, Tony, you had used your action and your bonus with the spiritual weapon attack. Did you want to move before you hand it off?
Just kind of...
She uses her movement to just have a victory dance.
Yeah. What is this little brown thing right here that's right next to these pillars?
So to your right is a pair of chests before the cages start.
No, to my, top right. Top left, I'm sorry.
Little brown thing?
Yeah, it's like a little...
about the broken purple stuff.
Oh wow, that looks brown. That's weird. Yeah, that's just the shattered crystal disc. So it basically looks like deep purple obsidian or glass, just in a pile on the floor.
This, where I'm about to... Where my movement is, where my thing is. What is this?
Oh, those were the 2 long tables you guys saw when you first came into the room. It's just decked out with all of...
Okay.
Yeah, with all the weapons that they've been crafting.
Okay, I'll just go there and, I guess, look at what there is.
Tony goes weapon shopping. Got it.
Basically.
So it comes around to Lucky.
Okay, so there's nothing else but this dude right now, right?
Who left? Oh. He said, right before he logged out. You back?
Did we lose someone?
My back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you dropped out of chat for a minute?
Help! Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. In your line of sight, you could... You saw there was...
You definitely can't hear Flint screaming in pain, right? Because of the dagger, right?
Is that still...
Yeah, that's the... Well, unless when the thing died, did it fall out of its body to the ground and unsilence?
Who threw that?
I did.
Will
I
stabbed
stabbed
him.
the
Stuck it in him
dagger
and
into
let
it.
it go.
Yeah, so...
That would still be...
think it would
let me
technically
double check the notes on it. I don't think... I think you have to...
End it. Pull it out.
Okay, let
Does it
me
have a
see.
duration?
Give him 2 hands.
Lasts for 10 minutes unless removed with a spell magic or similar cleansing spell. So it's... You used a bonus action to kind of enact that.
Yeah.
And that's gonna stay... Yeah, that's just a 10-minute impact bubble.
Okay, what happened to the enthralled dwarves?
Yes, so that would be right in front of you, alongside this enlarged Duergar. The kind of bizarre radiating energy that was coming off of it, first of all, it just stops in place. And kind of weakly collapses down back onto the floor, no longer intent in any direction, and the kind of psychic energy that was flaming off of it almost immediately snuffs out. So for all intents and purposes, that is an inert dwarf.
Okay,
Next
they
to
don't
the
look
Dwargar.
aggressive now.
No, or awake.
I mean, I want to do something, but I don't want to metagame it, and they can't hear me. So, do I know it? Do I know it's silenced? I would assume from like throwing fire bolts and stuff that the sound of my spell ceased as it passed a barrier.
You have definitely noticed that everything happening up at that altar in combat has been remarkably silent. No, like, weapons hitting armor or anything, like things moving around. It's very dead air from there, which is an unnatural silence.
The Dwargar, it's still aggressive.
The Dwargar is actually stunned right now. I should drop that on it. Did I? Let me check. Nope. I'm gonna drop stunned on it.
Or sorry,
Hold on.
They both stunned, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, I think I double clicked.
The back of the room there, is that, what is that? Is it open to, like, can we keep going forward, like possibly more enemies, or is it just nasty there? It looks like skulls and blood or dirt or something.
Which part of the which back
like,
of the
it looks
room?
like maybe a blue, either tile or water or something. The very north part.
Yeah. So there's a. I mean, the angle is weird because you wouldn't see it from where you're at. But that's a built-up like tile pool. So what you can see from your side, you can't see into it, but it's just you can see the wall in front. It's about 5 feet tall from the front of it, and then the steps go up around it. But behind that, you just see carrion, just desiccated bodies.
Okay, so that's just bodies
Blood.
piled up. Okay, not like an open
Yeah.
cave thing.
No, if anything's alive in there, it's gonna have some issues for the rest of its life.
Okay, I'm gonna try this because we may need questioning people. I'm going to cast Polymorph on Apples the Drow.
Oh no.
Okay,
It's going to become a giant ape.
it fails its save.
And then I'm gonna run, see. I'm running. Oh, and they're swinging my arms, like waving, like stop, stop, don't hit it, kind of thing. Or I don't. I can get close enough. Can I pick it up?
Can you pick up a drow?
Oh, it's a bunny now.
Oh,
Just cast polymorph on it. He's a bunny.
and you cast it from out here.
Yes, where I'm cast where I was, and then I move to it to pick it up. If I can pick it up, I can get my movement. I just don't know. Since I used my action to cast a spell, can I reach down and pick it up as a bonus action?
Yeah, sure. So you cast the spell on the move, and then make as much of a show as you can of trying to grab people's attention as you scoop down and pick up a very stunned and confused bunny.
Oh,
The
at that time, sorry, Will, your haste goes away.
Aw, darn.
Oh, does that mean he's stunned? When haste wears off in combat, doesn't he spend around?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember.
By the way, am I also no longer grappled but still stunned?
No, yeah. When the spell ends, the target can't move or take actions until after its next turn as a wave of lethargy sweeps over it. So Will has to skip around.
Okay, you are no longer grappled. And I will say, since you're already expending the round, shaking off the haste, your stun will fall as well.
Wait, I'm showing a stun on me. Was I stunned?
Will was stunned because
No, I
he
was
was
stunned because
in
of
the
Yeah, but I got a
physicals.
stun on me. I don't
what?
remember being stunned. Or did you put it on the wrong person?
You did
Did
say
you?
I don't
Is
remember.
anybody else?
I don't know where the stun came from.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
on the
don't
drow,
I
and
don't
it's
think he was
on
stunned.
the Dwergar. So that was an effect that came out of one of the legendary actions of the Mind Flayer that used the crystals in the room.
Thought it happened.
I don't think it hit everybody because some people shaked it off or shook it off.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's done?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so combat veterinarian runs in and grabs Apples the bunny, the drow, the book. This Dwergar is going to lose its enlarge effect. And double check stun. Yeah, we're gonna shrink back down. And wow, why is its range still that big if I dropped its... Oh well, I don't care. Yeah, it's... It spends the next turn just kind of coming back to awareness of its space. And that's about... Yeah. Will.
Yay. I can't do any, like, since my turn skips, I can't even do, like, bonus actions or anything, right?
That's true. You spend... Wait, what'd you pull up again, Bradley, on
When the spell
end of
ends,
haste?
the target can't move or take actions until after its next turn as a wave of lethargy sweeps over it. It says actions. I would assume that bonus action,
Yeah.
reaction.
So, Will, like the... Yeah, you spend your turn kind of shaking off the change or the shift in time scale as where the room used to be moving just a little bit slower than you were able to move around. Suddenly the music catches back up in tempo and everything just kind of which gives you a raging headache for a moment.
It's that sugar crash.
Well, but
And
isn't
then
it
you-
also... Aren't I also deafened because of the Dagger of Silence?
Well, okay, so my metaphor doesn't work so well, but the music that you would be hearing if it wasn't silenced here.
Music was playing in your head.
Okay.
So I'm gonna remove Enthralled Dwarf from tracker. Flint comes back around to you. Lucky has rushed in as the drow that was next to the Mind Flayer decided to shapeshift itself into a very unassuming bunny form. Silently.
silently, very sneakily. I am sure this is some sort of trap, but I can't process that right now. I need to go look around and maybe help our boy Bashir. He looks like he's having a grand time. I think that's like literally all I can do.
Okay, the bunny takes an attack of opportunity.
Bulls on your own.
Shit.
What does it do? Bounce on him?
I don't know.
I
Flint
die.
heads over to shore up the fully healthy senior citizen over there.
It rips my head clean off. I am no more.
Run away!
It had pointy teeth.
Can leap.
That's like literally all I can. That's all I can do. That's my thing.
I don't know why it's rolling. It's dead. Wow.
Or is it?
Oh no! It failed to recharge all of its abilities. Got it. It's dead. Fantasy Grounds. It's in 2 pieces.
It's dead.
Damn it,
Hey,
Jim.
look! It was standing on a pile of gore, and now it is a part of the pile of gore. All right. It's Apple's turn.
Apples will go carry the Dwarga.
Got it. Bashir's turn comes up next. And... Oh, just straight in.
Brashears.com.
So I think he... What?
Brashears.com.
I gotta double check the notes on his abilities. It's... Ooh. Yep, 3 attacks. Nope, that's not his abilities. Where is it? Why don't I see his, like, weapon options? What the heck?
He's trying to tell you, like, this is where you use DM creativity. And like, okay, he dispatches the enemy.
Oh no, I was just more fighting with the interface than anything. So yeah, he, I really don't think I even need to roll. 'Cause we target... Yep. That's a hit.
Dead Jim.
Just had to make sure, huh?
He gets 3 attacks, and he's not stopping halfway through. Yeah, so... Before the Dwargard has kind of come back to its own senses from the shattering psychic invasion of that Mind Flayer's death, Brashir just, in a flurry of quick stabs with the elongated blade, severs limbs and then stabs through the torso, and the whole pile just kind of drops very quickly. We are 1 Dwargar fewer in the vault here, which I believe ends the threat at the moment. You have a rabbit that you need to do something with.
Yeah, I've got plans on that. Are we out of combat turns now?
Well, only unless the combat rounds matter on your polymorph.
They won't,
Doesn't
because
it last
if it's when it comes back around to my turn, I'm running over and putting it. If there's a good lock on one of those cages, and I'm putting the bunny in the cage and locking it, so we have a prisoner.
So what you guys can do is, between the crew there and some of the folks that are in the cages, because the first couple that burst out, literally, like, their lock was shattered with telekinetic energy when they came out. But you're able to find one where you let the inhabitants out and then toss the bunny in and lock it back up.
I figure you might want a prisoner. Question.
So now you've got a bunny drow. It's like dark purple bunny in a cage.
Flint's gonna go around smashing some locks.
Yeah, man. You, with a determined flair, single strike to each padlock as they break away, and the citizens, some of whom you recognize, others just have been faces in the crowd, all, mutter their hurried thanks and get out of there as fast as they can and get away from the bars and the corners that they've been shoved into.
And he's gonna follow / lead them, however it happens, out into the concourse to go make sure that It's not going super terrible out there.
Okay, what's everybody else doing? What's anybody else
I'm
doing?
gonna follow right behind Flint.
Okay.
I'm making sure this dude's not gonna pull any shenanigans to get out.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
guess
keeping an eye on the bunny?
Yeah. Well, it'll last. Yeah, I've got a minute. All right, hang on. No,
Okay.
It's got.
You gonna put the bunny in handcuffs?
No, we've got an hour. So I'll keep.
I mean,
him as
you're
long-
able to. Are you able to drop that whenever?
Yeah, I can just stop concentrating on it, but we have up to an hour if there's an issue. If they want him in someplace even more secure or something like that.
Gotcha. So Lucky's on bun watch.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess Bunny is taken care of.
Make sure there's no other threats and start searching the room after we let people out of cages.
I think Will's just gonna stare at this dead, this dead large mind flayer for a minute, like, go through the motion of realizing how close to death he just came.
Oh right, when you guys got the psychic scream of its death and the weird flurry of memories, you do know that it was known as Ibzod the Gluttonous.
This mind flayer itself was called Ibsod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would have changed that on the tracker, but I deleted him instead, so...
Because he died.
Yay! Yeah. Cleaning up the map, just gotta
Yeah.
remove those tokens.
I guess I'm just gonna stare at Ibzod for a minute and just.
You're gonna pull your
like,
dagger out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my dagger out of him, but for a while. I guess I think that Will's probably gonna stand there for a little while, like while everyone else is doing their own thing. He probably just
doesn't
stands there
hear
for a few minutes.
anything.
No, he doesn't. For a little while he stands there, just kind of staring at it, just waiting for it to be like, I'm still alive, and then eat me. And I'm like surprised when it doesn't. Even when the dagger, when the sound finally comes back and the dagger stops, and I can hear noise all around me again, I'm still staring at it.
Well, if you wait for 21 rounds, then... No, I'm kidding.
My God.
Good news! It starts to
unless
reform.
Unless somebody's gonna drag me out of here, I'm just standing here staring at this thing.
Sure.
Tony.
Okay. So, Will's lost in thought. Flint is heading out to check on the concourse. Blaskin's right behind him. Brashear is just kind of scanning the room, wandering, stops and watches the drow bunny for a little bit, and then kind of starts trying to make mental notes of everything that has been going on here as best he can from the evidence in the space. He'll eventually come over to Will, but for the time being, as people are doing things in real time, that's what's going on. Tony, what's your move?
Well, since she sees that things have kind of calmed down, she just kind of falls to her knees, I guess, because she's just kind of oh my God, she's low-key scared of everything because it's just all coming back to her.
Gotcha.
So she's just kind of holding herself up against the table.
Fair enough. I mean, not your average everyday experience here. So, Flint and Blaskin, as you make your way out through the council room and check on the concourse itself, you see a very different scene than what you broke through. Your non-trademarked flame emblem units are all still standing, but have definitely weathered some wounds. There are less dwarves alive in each bunch than you started with, for sure. But the enemy was worse for wear on rolls. Some of the Belizean dwarves are, just skewered where they stood. Others are kind of have laid down their arms, basically, and are definitely being guarded by perimeters of your own local dwarves, but aren't really putting up resistance. The Underdark denizens are scattered in pieces across the floor from any number of directions. Kind of a quick scan and checking in with some of the folks nearest the door. It sounds like at a certain point in your combat, in particular, the dwarves from Carabellis switched sides, or at least dropped their arms in a very confused manner. And there have been attempts at apologies. There have been, complaints of, I have no idea what's going on, coming from some of them. So that quickly shifted the combat in the favor of Dunmoreau. So you hold the concourse securely at this point. There are small teams that are hunting down, back alleys and the extents of the different walkways, looking for any leftovers, dregs of the creatures that had followed in with the invaders. So there's some mop-up operations going on. Occasionally you can hear some shouts off in the distance, but nothing like the invading force that you rolled in with.
So, as we walk out, I want to do a thing because I have a flair for the dramatic.
Because you do, or because Blaskin does?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
I'm actually gonna grab Flint by the shoulder and make sure he doesn't walk away from me for a second here. And I'm gonna cast Call Lightning directly behind us to get everyone's attention. So I'm just
Can
putting
you do that indoors?
as long as I have 100 feet, where you said I could on the concourse before.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tall enough.
We went over this. I remembered. So as soon as I have his attention, I'm gonna say "People of Dunmoreau, this is your victory, and this is your savior, the Hammer of the Mountain, Flint Wintermite." I'm gonna throw down another Call Lightning right after that, right behind us again.
He comes out like it's a fucking WWE match.
I'm gonna end your career! Oh, brother. Okay, so to the sound of several claps of thunder and dazzling lightning strikes, which Blaskin, give me a...
Don't say it.
What is that? Nope.
Don't say.
Nope. Hold
You
on.
hit
I gotta
Flint
look at
with
your
Call
sheet now.
Lightning. He's dead.
2 less dwarves cheer. No. That's
More
hilarious,
like
but I would
3
not
or
do
4
that.
dwarves less.
Give me a nature roll. Will hears the sound of silence.
Oh, that's a nat 20. Suck it.
Might as well just pour out of the mountain itself.
You manage to conjure the purest column of lightning. Like, people don't quite recognize it as such, because you basically get, and I'm going to crib off Warcraft here, you get like a moonbeam effect every time it strikes. It's just this solid column straight up and down from the ceiling to the floor with like a crash and a bit of light rubble that flies off the stone behind you. You immediately get the attention of everyone in the space. A fair number of them, having gone through quite an ordeal over the last week and a half, run when the first lightning strike comes down, and then those that are a little bit further back, so aren't quite as impacted by the thunderclap that accompanies that lightning, or weren't looking straight at it, immediately go into just a raucous cheer of support and relief, and Flint definitely gets some new likes on his Facebook page.
He's definitely gonna like
Follows.
halfway
Like,
through
follow
the
and
speech.
subscribe.
He's gonna look up at him and he's gonna be like, "What are you talking about, man? What?
It's like, no, don't worry about it. Now you can go around telling people you're the Hammer of Dunmorrow. I did that.
I did." It's like with the lightning coming down, he's gonna be like, he's just gonna raise up his maul and his free arm.
As you raise the weapon up, you just see a small sea of matching reactions, just fists up in unison, and then they just start all chanting and cheering, and you just hear this Flint.
As he raises his hammer, I'm going to use prestidigitation to start having like sparks come up from behind him, just all over the place, over and over.
Oh my god!
Like a sparkly.
Just like these like miniature like firework explosions coming from like around the head of the hammer and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely you get quite a applause.
I thought you were going to say roll performance or persuasion. I was like, don't say it. Don't say it out loud.
No, I just wanted to know how well you could control that lightning before you controlled the lightning, so good job.
Arcs through the crowd, killing everyone.
Your hero.
Yeah, you knock out a column. Just
That wasn't a believer.
Which might the call lightning knocks him out. Your hero, me. Like, I gotta recover the situation as quickly as possible. Pretend like I did it on purpose.
Flint.
I did it all.
Flint will hold out an arm to Blaskin, and to shake hands.
Don't touch me, filthy dwarf.
I'll shake his hand.
Roll for initiative.
Oh god! I take 2
50
lightning
dwarves
bolts
pile
immediately.
onto Blaskin.
I grab Flint, which I'm to hug and shout Shazam as another lightning bolt.
And then he turns into a little boy.
I'm a real boy.
Billy.
And he'll try to like pull Blaskin in close, but Blaskin's probably like over twice my size and like weighs like 3 times my weight. So you're just gonna feel like me tugging on your arm, just like
it's like when my 8-year-old just like climbs me.
yeah, they're just like trying to yank your arm out of the socket. It's not like anything serious. You're just like, but you know the intent's there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll look down and I'll be like, what? What's going on?
I'll look him in the eyes and be like, thanks for everything.
Oh, I mean, you guys did all the work. I passed out in the first room, and I like when I came to, the battle was over.
You fed my kinsmen and you fought for my home. It means a lot.
I mean, I guess I did that.
I'll be back for you. And then Flint's gonna run off to find his
More importantly, you get people to call you the Hammer of Dunmorrow now. You got a cool title. That's what it's all about, baby.
titles, baby, titles.
Upgrades, people.
Upgrades. He's gonna go find his parents, or at least his probably look for his mom first, because she was kind of in charge last time he saw her.
Oh, Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. Does this mean we get to go kill Flint's dad now?
Oh.
I've been waiting on this for so
I
long.
feel like real dad needs to be the one to kill fake dad.
No. I've been dreaming of this moment.
I take
We'll
it all
see.
back.
So, you wait, there's still a bunch of doppelgangers outside.
We'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys are well secured within the mountain right now. Don't worry about that.
He's worried about killing them.
So
Only one of them.
Flint, roll me an investigation check. Or yeah, roll me an investigation check.
I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna die in this mountain alone.
She finds you.
Oh, excellent. Crazy.
You're like you're shoving through the dwarves. You're just getting surrounded by like
shaking
back pats
hands
and
and-
handshakes and like fist punches and some headbutts even. Some folks are just so lost in the elation of being free from this oppressive force that they don't quite know how to express it. One guy tries to kiss you.
Crazy.
And and then you feel like an intense grasp from over your left shoulder, and it spins you around real quick, and before you can recognize who it is, your mom just has you in just the tightest, like, rib cracking hug.
I mean, I obviously have to give one back.
And you actually crack her rib.
So some chiropractic later. No, it's intensely silent at first, but you get the so proud of you. Thank you.
Flint's just gonna be like, I couldn't have done it without everyone. There's we all did this together.
Most of the way through the end of your sentence, you just hear a ha, and then your dad comes and tackles both of you, and now you're like squished between him as well.
Absolutely broken between two people.
And
You should probably still.
Trian also. Trian was behind your dad by like 5 or 10 feet, so he comes in and tries to kind of attach to the glom. But yeah, you have a fair representation of the Wintermite clan basking in the survival of their city.
Flint's gonna look at them all, and just it's good to be home, but Ma, we've got one last thing to do.
She just kind of gives you a quizzical look. She doesn't even ask, but you get that off of her body language.
Just like there's a lot of a mess in the chambers.
Oh,
And it,
also got a prisoner.
and yeah,
As Lucky kind of wanders over.
Figure you might want to do some questioning. Still being kind of sheepish because he's still like fucked up from killing people.
Lucky, give me a perception roll. Okay. What's left in there? or who's left in there.
Well,
We haven't. I kind of expect. I haven't seen Dermot since the invasion began.
it's not great in there. It hurts the eyes, really.
She kind of gives a solemn but expected nod. I think he would have expected as much, honestly. Okay. Well, I think some cleanup to do is going to be the theme of Dunmorrow for some time here.
I'll be around for that. And I think we need to go get the everyone else out of the chamber. They could use your touch.
Right. We'll definitely see to our less fortunate. I'm glad they were able to walk out. Yeah. So she'll set to kind of her matronly energy of wandering the crowds of the caged folk that you guys had released, asking questions. Just kind of she gets on a more personal level, as is her energy, and sits down with like the clusters of them, and just it's not as much of like a hey, where do you hurt, how can I heal you. It's more of the nature that she's always brought to the folks that come into the temple, where it's just like, hey, let me get to know you, let's tell me some stories about last year, or hi, I recognize you, remember when that weird thing happened, or that funny tale about your uncle fishing and he fell off the boat. Just stuff like that. She connects on a comfortable personal level after everything that's been going on, and you just see her get busy trying to start the harder healing.
All right. Well, Flint's just gonna look around at everybody, kind of like celebrating or doing whatever they need to do, and he's gonna head back into the chamber to go find Tony and Will, because they're just hanging out down here.
Yeah, Will's like a statue.
They probably heard some lightning bolts. They're probably a little confused about what's going on.
So Will and Tony, when Flint makes his way back into the vault, how does he find you?
About how much time has passed?
2 casts of Call Lightning and some conversation. I don't know.
Less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
We'll play with like a 5 to 10 minute wobbly time range there.
Okay, then I'm probably just now starting to get hearing back.
Brashear has just kind of sat down on one of the 2 long tables, a good like 20 feet behind you, Will, just watching. Not really. Yeah, just keeping an eye.
Actually, as soon as sound comes back, I think is there any noise like as soon as the sound comes back? I assume I hear like the cheering, all the people, maybe people talking outside. There's probably some of it filtering through.
Yeah, it's echoing off of the council chamber walls, so you're getting kind of the remote version of it, funneled through a couple hallways, but you can definitely tell there's much life and exuberance outside the space you're in right now.
Will would like to.
Oh, they came for me.
Yeah, Will would like to. First of all, Will would like to find Tony because he recognizes she was the one who saved him, basically.
Okay.
I mean, Clint released Flint released him, but Tony actually killed the damn thing. So Will turns around and he sees Tony. So he'd like to go up to her and get her attention, and he'd just like to say, with the most sincerity that he could possibly have, "Thank you, Tony. You saved my life."
Like before he came over, like obviously like she was just kind of like knelt to the ground, and then like she kind of picked herself up, and she's just kind of, what's this dude's name again? I forgot his name.
Which one?
Yeah, that one, Bashir. So she's kind of just like sitting, like once Bashir comes over, he's just like sitting at the table, like she's just kind of like sitting next to him, just kind of like making small talk and just trying to like go over the events. Like she hears everything going outside, but she doesn't think like she can handle going out there right now.
Okay.
So she's just like kind of just sitting there in silence with this dude after like this small talk, and then once like I guess Will comes up to her, she just kind of nods and like, "You okay?"
Well, my life and some of my life choices have just flashed before my eyes. So maybe
I'm never
not
walking
yet.
up walls again.
I regret
No.
not walking up these walls.
Yeah, if anything, I regret not walking up these walls.
I'm spending the rest of my life on the ceiling. No.
And then, of course, since she's next to Brashear at this point, I'll then, I'll turn to Brashear as well. Brashear, I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up. Did, but you as well have my thanks.
Well, I'm pretty sure your father would haunt me until oblivion if I hadn't helped you out, so no worries.
Oh, and I just
We take
realized
care of each other.
it hits Tony a little bit harder because like on top of already like being an orphan with a little brother, excuse me, little sister, because like obviously she like went unconscious, so she's just kind of like, holy shit, like I almost could have left my sister all on her own, and she's just contemplating like her life choices and everything. And so she also expressed her thanks, before Will came over.
And he was very what's the term I'm looking for? Very polite and just kind of passively helped listen as you made small talk and just engaged you on a very shallow level. As you and Will are talking back and forth, he's just kind of slowly nodding, and you see his attention kind of drift off into like his thoughts as opposed to the present space. And when you guys are kind of wrapping up your conversation back and forth, he puts a hand to each of your shoulders. I know where you are right now. I've been there many times. Will, your father, and I, and our other compatriots have been there many times. It doesn't get easier, but it does get more familiar. You're alive, and
Not
you succeeded,
comforting.
so take that with as much victory as you can muster. You did a very good thing here. I was glad I was able to witness it.
Thank you, Brashear.
Tony's not very moved by his words.
And
In fact, she wants to do this a lot less.
And Bashir, if it means anything to you, it means something to me. But having you here beside me is almost like I got to fight beside him.
Oof. Wasn't ready for that one.
It's like, wait a second, I was way better than him.
I'm here, right?
Your dad was actually not a warrior, idiot.
Like, excuse me, hello, I just saved your life, and you're gonna think about him?
No,
You
it's a part of a part of him lives within Bashir in his memories.
You
I'm,
know
I'm-
what? I take
I'm
back my
looking-
life.
I'm looking from like kind of a psychological. This is kind of like a psychological thing. Like,
Don't worry.
yeah,
I
You
think
guys
we're all
took that
having
to
a
a
really
weird place. He did not.
I'm sure Bashir understands.
no. I think we're all just having really fun with saying what we just said.
No,
All
it's
right.
more of like you catch just a hint of like one of his eyes starts watering.
Mute myself real quick.
But he what?
I'm gonna
She
mute
muted
myself real
herself.
quick.
Okay, sure. At the same time, he caught something that he quickly tries to turn to Tony and address. Believe me, I have been in situations that I wished I was never in before, or never had to be in at all. The power of a courageous individual only shows itself when they are afraid. Bravery isn't charging into something you know you can defeat. Bravery is being afraid of something in the first place and doing what you need to do anyway. In that way, I respect all of you very much. And I think you should give yourself some definite credit.
Tony just kind of like listens to his words, but she just kind of sits there like basically like she just nods, but she's just kind of like spacing out, and it's just kind of like, I want to go home. I want to take a nap.
There's more like slow dad nods.
Basically.
And then he kind of claps you both on the shoulder. We should probably go outside and see what all the cheering is about, shouldn't we?
Sure.
What cheering?
Oh, right! You've been reading my lips this whole time.
And at that exact moment, all sound comes back to him. Oh, hello.
Warp.
Flint's just
Wow.
standing there on the stairs, like, what the fuck?
Wow. Was everything always this loud?
Oh my
That's
god!
weird. I actually had a moment like that once. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to interrupt the story. I just, for some reason, I felt like I needed to just throw that out there.
Yeah, let's figure out what's next. I guess. I mean, I feel a little bad just leaving all this, all this dead stuff laying around in here because this is someone else's home. But at the same time, I don't really know where to dispose of all this. So
Didn't you see the big dumpster that we passed by on the way here?
no, I was too busy.
Hey, that's
walking
no
up.
way to talk about a city.
It's,
Not what I meant, but okay.
Is there anything? Will wants to look at the Mind Flayer and see if there's any sort of not really
loot the
trophy,
Mind
but
Flayer.
like memento that he can sort of take from Mind Flayer, something he wants to keep with him to remind himself of what happened.
Like
here
a
today.
brain?
Like an eye or a tentacle?
No, he doesn't want anything that's going to like smell really weird or like start to decompose.
Eat a mind flayer's
Disgusting.
mind and then look at it and say ironic.
I hate you.
I mean, I'm looking for just like like if he has any small trinkets on him or anything. Then
Take his cloak.
yeah,
I thought you were going to say take his clothes.
yeah. I want to be honest. Will doesn't even think to loot this guy just because, based on the fact it's a mind flayer, he doesn't really think there's much on him. But obviously, he was clothed and he had like some trinket stuff on him. Or at least I mean, he is called the gluttonous. I would assume that probably gluttonous for more than just brains.
I mean,
You would be wrong.
before it was bisected, his tum was pretty pronounced. We'll just say, and he was very glistening on his skin.
Make his skin
Was
glisten.
he a rare shiny? Oh man, they didn't add those.
he was rare and shiny. You could put it that way.
Was he a Pokemon?
God damn it! Will, roll an investigation check.
Let's see the Pokemon. Right.
Investigation, awesome. It's based off of
Investigate the high
intelligence,
grass.
which Will does not have. I find a Pidgey. It kills me.
You checking the corpse over without
I poked it
wanting
a
to
couple
take any,
times, too.
without
Make sure it's
taking. All right, leaving a couple indentations in the flesh. Without taking anything that reminded you of your up close and personal encounter, you are able to pull a kind of mundane, swizzled wristband off of the mind flayer. It comes together like it's almost a full bracelet, but it ends into like tear-shaped spheres. So there's just a little bit of a break, which means you can easily like bend it a bit and put it on yourself, or just toss it in your pack and be like, "Hey, remember that thing that almost ate my face?"
I'll put it in the pack for now.
So go ahead and if you want to add illithid armband as an item, I'll come through and add some flavor text to that for you.
Arm. Yeah, I think I'll just make sure. I'll check with Lucky first to make sure that there's no like enchantment or like anything like dangerous about it.
Oh, too late. No, I'm kidding.
And I say I would have, while things are going on and dying down, the only thing Lucky's want to do is make sure people that are in charge know about this drow rabbit and are ready, so I can release concentration and they can do what they want with him for questioning. And then do a detect magic, walk around checking everything out, anything that's possibly magical, and then identifying anything.
Cool. So you give an update on the Drabbit. They station 3 very like exuberant volunteers who grab some of the blades off the table in the vault there, and then stand right around the cage. Just like one of them is even just like wiggling a blade through just to like nudge the rabbit that's trying to hide back in the corner. And then you're just setting about with detect magic?
Yeah.
Are you doing like the
Yeah,
black light
so I
sweep?
just take 10 minutes, cast it, then I've got 10 minutes of magic sight to walk around and check everything out. All the bodies, all the room.
So
Yeah, in
there's
that
nothing.
case, Will hold the bracelet to when he does that. He'll hold it to Lucky.
So the bracelet's inert. One of the guards, as you're holding it out, looks over. Sorry, need some water.
Don't drown.
No, it's the opposite. One of the guards of the Drabbit looks over and recognizes it as a mithril armband. to the tune of like, ooh, that's some shiny. But yeah, you get the metallurgist's perspective that pretty swanky.
In that case, he'll wear it.
I'll give some stone coming when I get the chance. Don't worry.
It's not stone.
Boo.
Yeah.
But if you so the shards of those discs definitely resonate with a magical energy.
I'll carefully gather those up to study.
Okay, so you can, if you want to add to your inventory list I mean,
if there's anything,
how much reasonably would he gather up?
Well, none of this needs to be just left to do whatever without knowing what it is, because
Right. So each one of these discs was like 6 inches in thickness. That kind of tapered to the edges, but then they were about 2 feet in diameter. So I mean, you'd be looking at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'll enlist any able dwarves to help move this stuff to a secure area or something.
Are you keeping any for yourself?
I want to find out what it is first.
Okay. Then yeah, you can find a couple.
Sticks them in my pocket, and it's insidiously starting to seep into my brain.
Wild.
No, I was more asking in case I needed to tell you what to like describe it as in your inventory list, but that's fine. So yeah, they'll kind of help sweep the shards up. They're from a fingernail clipping size all the way up to maybe 6 inches in length, like a small piece of plate glass that broke. And you're able to gather all of those, and they kind of trundle them into one of the available chests in the vault there.
Say as time permits, once everything's gathered up and looks safe, then I'll start doing rituals to identify anything that's magical, or to discern what its use and properties are.
So the only other item that lit up in here would have been not on the tables, but there were along the walls of the vault, there are very short shelves that stack maybe 2 or 3 high individual ingots of gold, silver, occasionally some mithril ingots. But this was the vault of the city, so
I wouldn't be messing with that stuff that looks like it belongs here.
Right. There's also a rack of various weapons. Looks like some are very old, so this may be like a bit of a historical archive, but one definitely resonates magical energy. It looks like a mace of some kind with like some carved skulls into its facade.
I'll make note of it, because that probably already belongs here, but I'll make note to bring it to people's attention.
That's a spooky mace.
Something 40K.
It looks terrifying, probably.
Just in the book, one spooky mace. Gotcha.
Is it a mace of terror?
And then were you also scanning the council room, the previous fight?
Anything where there was fighting, where we had stuff where we could the player talking here. We want loot. I'm looking for all treasure.
Gotcha. So you're scanning back over everything you killed. Back in the council room, you don't get anything off of the hooded mind flayer, but there is an incredibly bright light coming from within the robes of the energized mind flayer, the arcanist, if you will.
Yeah,
and
up anything to...
as you kind of rifle through his robes to find where this is coming from, you find a familiar object that you got in glimpses of its memories when it died. It's it's got a finely carved wooden handle, and then what looks like a overly intricate gyroscope that sits atop it with... Hold on, I gotta find my notes for this now. Where's my item sheet? This matters. Yeah, there's like this set of 6 thin brass, like concentric rings that are all like gimbaled on offset axes around a weird kind of black opalescent sphere in the center that's maybe the size of a small plum.
I eat it.
Yeah, I ended that on a high note, so it sounds like I was going to say more, and then I realized I had no more to say.
Interesting.
Any of them have spell books or anything? Or is it all innate?
Give me a investigation check. As Lucky is the only person who tried to loot anything. No spellbooks on their persons. Yeah, the other one was remarkably not astute. What's the right term for someone who doesn't really keep anything in their house or on their person?
Destitute?
Maybe, I don't know. Intentionally minimalist. We'll put it that way. And this one, you've just beyond the item that has had this glowing, bright, magical energy. You find a couple mundane gold rings on some fingers. Oh, I've got a puppy on my foot.
Yeah.
I put the puppy off its foot and put it in the bag.
All right, there we go. You find a couple mundane gold rings. Some of them have a bit more of like an alien detailing to them, some symbols stamped into them that don't seem familiar. They don't glow with any magic. I think you get the sense they were just for show.
I'll take anything of value off of them.
Okay, so you get 3 illithid gold rings, and I'll give you a... So you take the other item as well?
Yeah. And anything that may need to be divided up amongst them, if you want to throw in the party sheet, that's fine.
No, I'm just double checking because sometimes people play it safe, and not to lead you anywhere. I'm just, are you also picking up the item that glowed when you were scanning with detect magic?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not hiding anything from anybody.
Gotcha. Here I can. So do you want me to put it in the party sheet or in your inventory then?
Just put it in the party sheet. We can divide it up.
Okay. Let's see. Inventory.
There's a quarterstaff in there. Why is there a quarterstaff in the inventory?
I know. You guys are just carrying around a stick between you the whole time. It's really awkward when you try to go through doorways.
5 gold, and 2
Crazy.
silver.
So if we go golden illithid ring.
I see you've already created these items
3.
before now.
What's that?
I was just making fun because I see you typing it in the party sheet, and it's like, I see you've already created these items before game.
Oh, yes, definitely. They were ready to go.
Excuse me.
So I'm just going to ask off the bat, do you see a swirling brass gadget in
Yes,
the
sir.
parcel items?
Yeah, you don't. You have it marked as not ID'd, I would assume.
So
I
that's
see
what
it.
you see?
Yes, swirling brass
Good.
gadget.
Good. Okay. I never know what the ID system does with notes. So, yes, you've gathered that up. When you pick it up, you do hear a kind of small hum that comes from the center of the device. And just on their own, the different gimbaled circles kind of click just a little bit around each other. So there seems to be some kind of internal energy to it, but
After everything's gathered up, I'll ID everything.
okay. So at some point here in the lull after the craziness, Lucky sits down, does his ritual casting on Identify. The rings are just mundane rings. You don't get any energy off them. They were just bling to show station or commemorative of deities or beliefs. Kind of hard to ask the guys you killed to get them.
Crazy.
But the bizarre brass device, you have to spend a little bit longer to start to understand the energies coming off of it and the intent behind it. But you eventually identify it as a limbo anchor. And if I pull up some notes...
Nothing about that sounds fun.
Well, none of us are in limbo.
Will asks, how low can you go?
Rarity unseen.
How low can you go?
An otherworldly machine. Handheld.
Here, I can drop some, or I can copy paste some notes into this later for you. But the way this would read if identified, I still don't know what I'm doing here. 2 years in, guys.
Woo!
The limbo anchor is a gyroscopic device made of an iridescent green or a black crystal supported by tiers of brass limbs rotating around each other in 6 progressive rings. It emits a light hum when left alone. Requires attunement. Can teleport a target, requiring 60 seconds of focus. Arcana DC for casting starts at 15, increasing by 3 for each cast in the same day. Failing a skill check renders the artifact inert for the day. If the target of the teleport is not willing, the DC to complete the teleport is 4 higher than the current Arcana DC for casting. The caster can target themselves if desired.
Now, is there any distance or what's a limitation like? Is
It
feet,
follows the
planes?
requirements for teleport.
Okay.
Familiarity with that's the line that I didn't read high enough. Sorry, I've got a lot of notes in various places. So effectively, you have a device that can teleport you and a target group to anywhere that you are familiar with increasing Arcana DC for every cast you try to do past the first in the same day. And if you fail the DC, the device is rendered inert until the next day, along with
But it just works
whatever
as the spell.
the failure for teleport follows the same table.
Cool. Who all can use it? I would assume wizard, but it can cleric or anybody else.
dm.exe has stopped working. I didn't consider that one when I was first writing it. I'm going to say it's based on an Arcana check, so anybody can try. But...
Well, I didn't just want to like dibs like, okay, cool, it's mine. It's like, well, if somebody else can use it or wants to, but maybe like, yeah, a warrior can't use it. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's not attuned to a specific background, but it is very arcane related. So you, in your identification process, you get the sense that you probably want to be very familiar with the energies of the arcane if you're going to be using this.
Right. Now let everybody know what it does. Anybody want to play with this or want me to hold on to it?
You do not want me to make an Arcana check.
Will's on it.
Yeah,
No,
Will's
like, I'll take it. I'm like, nope, it won't work for you. Sorry.
Oh man, I was gonna teleport. I was gonna teleport onto the ceiling with my slippers.
The instant Will touches it, just be like, Brandon, can I automatically roll a 2 on an Arcana check without Will noticing, so it goes inert as soon as he touches it?
Okay, I grab it.
Like Will touches
Oh,
it.
look at that. It's dead
down.
for the day.
Yeah, Will touches it and shuts down for the next 24 hours. You're like, sorry, Will, I guess it doesn't like you.
Will fucking rolls. He rolls a natural 20. Lucky's like, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Roll a 4, sir.
Amazing.
Look, I'm saving you all from possible demise here.
From definite demise. Guaranteed dissatisfaction.
It's like, no, you
I'll
didn't roll a thing. I like grabs him like, no, let this happen.
I'll put more notes into it. I will, but for the gist of how you guys might approach the device, based on the fact that you identified it, it has a limit of, I want to say, 7 targets, and it's basically you can't teleport to a place you've never seen, even if it's described to you. So this is limited to something you are familiar with as the user, as the wielder of the device.
This is our return portal after we're done with the dungeon.
Can I try?
Or anything else.
And what about the shards and the little purple portal things?
All the purple portal things broke into shards. Those. What's the best way to describe those in an item form? Slivers of psychic resonance glass.
Okay, are they going to be useful for us as a magic item, or things that just need to be destroyed by the dwarves?
They definitely feel like they could have their use. They seem very well tuned to projecting will. Not will, but will.
Where are we taking Will?
Based
That's
on
weird.
how
They didn't do
you,
shit for me.
based on how you saw them operate in the room, they are a kind of megaphone, or they were pieces of a megaphone of a certain caster's intent. So, yes. So
between whatever,
who knows
I can
who
gain
could use
from
them or what you could build out of them, but they definitely seem useful in the future.
I will, whatever kind of artisan, I'll relay that information. Whatever dwarven person would best know how to to get that information to artisans to help make stuff.
Got it. So Lucky has identified some sweet items.
Some swanky gear.
What is everyone else up to then?
Well, I came down to check on the gang, but I guess we're all going back up.
Now that you're a celebrity.
Probably spend
Yeah.
some time sweeping the city, helping everything, make sure everything's round up and destroyed.
Yeah,
It
I'm
needs to
gonna-
be.
Anyone who's injured, even the bad guys, once I run out of spell slots for Spirit of Healing, I'll use some good berries on the bad guys.
You mean the bad turned good guys? The dwarves from Carabellis?
I don't know. They still attack me. As far as I'm concerned, the bad guys.
My call lightning stays active forever.
Your call lightning?
Yeah. What?
Mine gave it to
My
me.
nat 20 was so good. Flint's convinced he can cast spells now.
He just has lightning that follows him forever now. That was your crit.
Doesn't do damage, it's just a spectacular light show.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Okay.
way, I feel like I want to throw this out there. I was actually inspired because I watched A Knight's Tale recently, and Geoffrey Chaucer is just the best character in that movie.
Yeah, it is.
I watched that again too because it was on Netflix, and I'm just like, I love this movie.
Yeah. So when I thought about giving Flint his little speech there for me, I was channeling my inner Geoffrey Chaucer.
Listen to me. Who is also Vision?
Yep.
Oh shit, it was!
Paul B.
Paul Bettany's just the best.
It didn't occur to me. Yeah, he is great.
Okay, so you guys kind of chip in and help do some city sweeps, off some Underdark dwellers, definitely get rid of the pack that has been roaming the Ventworks. They are no more.
Excellent. Purge this filth.
Yeah, so you don't suffer any additional losses because now the city is all committed to a singular cleansing cause to move all of the various garbage out of its own space. Some bodies get shuffled off down into the sewer system below. There's some kind of disgusting noises that happen that kind of echo back up from there. Would have been weird if people tried to come in through the sewers. Who knows what they would have run into. So yeah, that kind of... You settle into a calmer state as the whole town kind of comes together, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of normalizes a bit. There's shuffling of items, there's removal of weird piles of leftovers from travelers and pilgrims that suffered a less than happy fate by coming to check out the town. The front doors are being held, but you are getting reports from some of the guard posts that have, like, the ballista watch, that kind of a similar occurrence to what happened in the concourse also happened out in the city, or the outer town, that the Belizean dwarves, after the fall of the mind flayers, kind of came back to their senses, and so there was a bit of combat that started out in the town. So you're not quite sure the condition of any additional hostiles in the outer town, but there was definitely a new, present, aware, angry force of dwarves that woke up, for better or worse, and then needed to figure out where they were and what was safe.
So
I'm
you're
still
saying-
waiting to hear something from Flint, but I'm not going to say it for him.
So you're telling me that instead of all of them coming together to surrender, they wanted to start more shit. Is that what I'm? Is that it? Is that?
That's one way to take it.
Are we going to be riot police now?
Well, I obviously have to go get my hammer. I'm getting me mallet.
You have your hammer.
Well, I'm getting
The other one.
Hammer.
the hammer is my penis.
It's next to his wallet. I get it.
I understood that reference.
Wow, what just happened? Where are we?
Yeah, I'm gonna go rally my gang and go tell them that we need to go kill imposters and possibly my ex-father.
So after a little bit of explanation, your dad is like up and in line for this.
He's like, yeah, let's go kill me.
It's gonna be a race between Flint and his father to see who can get to him first.
I cast haste on myself to beat them both there.
You know what? If he does that, if he actually does that, Will would like to help his father by doing the other thing, the thing you know about, Brandon, that nobody else knows about yet.
That thing.
Okay. You
First
You know,
time use of that
the thing that helps me move.
Yeah. You're gonna have to pay for
your
that.
legs.
No, that's only if he actually casts haste on himself.
No, I mean based on what you did earlier in combat and how many pips you have left on the thing that we're not talking about. If you go 2 more pips down the line, you're gonna have to pay for that.
Ooh, you know what? Never mind. Will apologizes to real
good
dad.
Joke while it lasted.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, real dad, I'm real sorry. I wish I could help, but I can't." I'll tell you what though.
Are you stealing my dad now?
I'll use my rope archer ability to rope Flint and hold him back.
Give him your slippers.
Oh my god. Okay, sure. We'll roll with that. Will, I want you to roll a dex check with advantage. And Flint, I need you to roll a dex save.
How dare you?
Advantage.
How dare you?
Dex.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Oh no. I actually thought that was a 1 for a second.
That's okay. 7's still way lower.
Only by a little bit.
So as you guys you've probably gathered like 8 or 9 dwarves and other folks, including members of your party, who are just like, this sounds fun. Let's just fucking do this. So there's a crowd running up the throat of Dunmoreau, and Will quickly kind of grabs some twine out of his pack and wraps it around the back of an arrow, and then like knocks it and fires it across the hall just in time for Flint to like it embeds itself in the rough stone of the opposite wall, and Flint takes a tumble and loses about 10 to 12 feet of
I just don't
clearance
know what
on
happened.
his on his dad. So Papa
I learned
Wintermite
a whole turn of movement, huh?
Papa Wintermite has a lead on you by a fair margin.
By an unfair margin, if you ask me.
Hey, Will spent an entire day fishing with his arrows to earn that ability.
Yeah, Will earned this skill. Damn it.
Okay.
Impressing a small boy.
I mean, it sounds like I need to make a successful save to get out of this. Is what it sounds like.
Will knocks another arrow.
Just give it to him, Flint. No.
Just let your father have something nice.
Will's over there like, if you don't stop, this one isn't doing that. It's going in your leg.
I'm gonna put explosive arrow. I'm gonna make these explosives.
You thought you
Will
were
makes
gonna
your
do
lung
that
trip over.
there, but then you took an arrow to the knee.
Yep.
Me kneecaps.
So the exuberant crowd makes their way to the grim door, and some shouts go around, and a couple, pairs of dwarves run off to either of the gimbals for the lock system, and the thick iron doors slowly move open outward, and you see some rock dust fall off of the tops, and you can see a kind of early evening, like dusk light view of the outer town, and there's scattered groups of dwarves running around chasing various targets. Some shouts coming from different corners, and you have access to the outer city at this point.
So are we doing like a clearing job, like all able bodies?
So in this group in particular, like there are stragglers behind you guys that are just eager to get out into the open air, see some stars or some sunlight, and feel like they have their freedom again. So there's definitely kind of a slow surge behind you, but
well, I just want to make sure. I want to suggest to everybody before we go, because of the doppelgangers and things like that, that everybody that's on our side wear like a red armband or something, so we can differentiate people.
I mean, I can always just moonbeam on everybody and see what happens.
Yeah, everybody go through the moonbeam.
It'll only
hurt a little bit.
I swear.
It'll only hurt a little bit, unless.
But yeah, that way everybody can identify each other easier.
I tell you what, Lucky, make me a persuasion roll. It starts to filter through the group. You don't kind of get the quick attention of the crowd, but it's one of these things where it's just, like, a person that heard you further back in the rabble, like, re-emphasizes the idea, and then that starts to catch really quickly around them, and then it starts to spread
Man,
slowly.
that guy's so smart.
So, yeah, they come up with a... I'm not going to try and get a specific thing here, but they come up with a quick ability to, like, make sure all of, like, their left sleeve is rolled up or something. Just a very quick, visible thing so that whatever they were wearing, they could still make the system work. And that kind of propagates through the crowd. So you guys do roll out with a much better... Like, anybody who wasn't in our crowd is going to stand out effect.
Cool.
Gotcha.
And then we can moonbeam.
Sure. So as the tide starts to sweep out, and you see, like, parts of the group behind you guys just peter off into the fields and sit down and look up and, like, just take deep breaths and just collapse in exhaustion in some cases. But the, like, excited spearhead with Papa Wintermite at the head of it races down the ramp from the Grim Door into the outer town, headed toward the smithy. And when you guys get there, there's a pair of Belizean dwarves with their weapons down, just on the floor, sitting outside the door. Very exhausted. Looking up and kind of just nodding silently, and kind of turning away from you guys a little bit, like more in a show of passivity. And when you guys make it into the smithy itself, there is a very thoroughly stabbed gray body sitting behind the smithing table. I think think some of the dwarves from Kerberos may have already had their aggressions taken out on nearby invaders.
Uh-oh. Uncool. That was our thing. We were going to do that.
Fun.
Your Flint, your dad still like grabs it by an ankle and drags it. It makes sure to bang it into like every corner and table still in the smithy before he gets it out the front door, and just chucks it out into the open space and spits towards the corpse. You did a shite job being me.
Well,
I feel like I should note that Flint's dad should probably slap him because he was actually fooled into believing this was Flint's dad.
I don't know. Flint was pretty suspicious.
That's not good enough.
So what now?
Who is he asking?
Everybody? Anybody?
Anybody?
Anybody what?
Do we have any immediate pressing concerns?
Oh, no, yeah.
You all wanted to kill my father, and he's dead. It's game over. Go home. Lay boss down.
During the IDing of everything, I wanted to. What was that mace? And does it belong to the dwarven city?
Oh, so it was definitely up on a rack with other weapons, but let me double check to make sure I knew.
You know, if it was something like a cool magic item, be like, hey, you know, we kind of helped save the city. You might want to, like, you know, maybe give that to somebody. Or if it's like, nah.
Sorry. Weapons. Where'd it go? Is it this one? Yeah. So you identified. You had to. You go back. You didn't take it with you. So
right.
Just out of curiosity, you went back into the vault and spent some time just casually marveling at everything. That is a Mace of Terror.
That's what I figured.
I wonder.
They may or may not know what they have in there, but it was in the vault. So, and on display along with a whole bunch of other kind of older weapons that had seen battle and different things.
So I'll let the group know what it was in case somebody was interested and wanted to ask for it. I'm sure Flint could get it pretty easy.
I think I don't. As a paladin, I'm not sure I want a Mace of Terror. I don't know. That's just me. That's how I feel about it.
Depends on who uses maces.
You get the +1.
Listen, all right. I've got my +1 wall. I'm set for life.
All right. So you have gotten rid of Copy Papa, or someone has.
Tragic.
I'm so glad you remembered the term Copy Papa.
Before we get any further, I should mention, you guys all gain level 8.
Woo! Yay. Right.
If anybody was curious if they wanted to get that or ask for it.
Yeah, that's the stats on Sir Mace of Terror.
Can I just... Hey, I did one of those. Alright, I'm still a little bit... a little hearted. Only missing like 20 of my hit points. Is that important?
What are you doing? Doing what? Nothing's happening in chat. I don't know what you're referring to.
No, I'm just saying I'm still hurted from the last combat. I got dunked on a little bit. We still have a drow, don't we?
Yeah, you've got a drabbit in the vault that has definitely stopped being a rabbit.
I kind of wish you'd have just said that in character, Garrett. So you could just be like, should I get that looked at? You've got a couple stab wounds.
I mean, I definitely do.
It's
like,
like the way you did it. Like, should
It's
I
a
do we-
slow drip all the way out into the fucking.
Do we get to go ahead and apply the level up now?
Yeah, if you want to, you guys can go ahead and hit level 8.
Yeah.
How do I do that again?
You take your class and you basically just drag another
Or
one
if you're
on.
multi-classing, you drag the new class.
Yes.
If you don't know where they're talking about, on your main page of your character sheet where it says class level, there's a magnifying glass. Open that up. And that'll give you a little window.
I
And
did
if you're
it
saying same class, you can click the little shield to open up the class window. Upper left corner. Left click, hold the shield, drag it over into the little window, and let it go, and it'll add up a level.
Oh. How about that?
Did you do it? Did it work?
For some reason it says 10. I don't know. I don't want to change it though.
Weird.
No, it says 8.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I mean, yeah, it says 10. I got the note.
I got the note. It all's coming together now.
Okay, cool. I did my ability score improvement. Excellent.
Those used to roll in chat. I don't know why they're not.
I am now the wise 20 man.
20, man.
I'm wise, not intelligent.
All right, ASI.
I think it's automatically rolling you guys average HP increase.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. If everyone's cool with that, we'll keep it. If anybody wanted to try their luck, I will let you.
I'm not about to try my luck on that shit.
I already rolled a 20. I'm not doing
Can
that.
I use my portent rolls to make it a higher roll?
Listen,
No.
I'm pretty sure I've used up a lot of my 20s, all right?
Lucky over here, like, use my portent. Remember that 19 I got?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you don't roll a d20 on HP.
I do now.
I didn't roll it. I portented it.
It was foretold by the stars.
And I get to pick 2 new spells.
Well, I can't argue with the stars. Because they're really far away.
You're incapable of speech.
Flint's just gonna get these wounds treated, if you don't mind. Maybe later we can all meet up and talk about this drow, or we can all hang out and talk about what led us here. To be friends, honestly.
Or maybe Flint goes and gets his wallet.
I immediately moved
don't-
because that doesn't sound like Flint at all. That's clearly a doppelganger.
Flint, you get a horrible sunburn. That's it. You just get a horrible sunburn.
I'm
This
sitting there like,
moonburn's
clearly
never
he's
gonna
not
come out.
doppelganger. He must be mind controlled. Like, you just put in a situation where you can't possibly convince us or it's normally you anymore.
I mean, I guess I should go get my wallet.
No, you're fine. On your own time, sir. Whatever you guys are doing, just let me know what
Well,
you're doing.
do I need my ID to get into the hospital?
I don't know. You talked about your purse for like the first 3 sessions. So.
Listen, now
If
I
they
have
say-
to protect my money. I can't just let
Yeah.
anybody touch my wallet.
Yeah, it's secure in the mountain.
Yeah. Now that the mountain is secure.
All right. You guys do get the chance to just kind of make rounds outside. You run into more Belizean dwarves that are very non-threatening at this point. They've made a display of putting their weapons on the ground once they feel like they've found any threats around them. There has been a bit of fervor in skewering any and all shapeshifters that they run into. There are a couple tales of interesting conversations that happen back and forth with between some of the dwarves from Carabellus and some of the pretend dwarves from Carabellus before they identified who was who, and that figured itself out pretty quick. The Belizeans took a couple losses. The shapeshifters are now gray puddles on the floor. So,
did anyone find out why the doppelgangers actually allied themselves with the mind flayers?
Not precisely, other than they. I mean, in the what was it? The memory, they kind of just offered help, if I remember. Maybe they were suppressed into doing it.
You got hints of they were subjugated. There was some eagerness in their energy to take over some of the surface, take over some new lives, some new personalities.
All right.
But there was a pushing presence from Ibzod and his group behind him that was kind of the driving mental force.
I just wanted to make sure we commit a complete, unadulterated genocide on people who totally did not deserve it.
So the unbridled emotion behind this entire push that you guys got was desire, hunger, greed, seizing opportunity.
You may smack them around as you wish, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I just wanted to make sure that it's like, yeah, they were totally enslaved, and you guys, they were basically innocent. And I would have been like, oh, okay.
Will would actually like to do something. He would like to. So when we first got there, and we were first in the vents, we saw Harglin get his brain sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Will would like to know. Would like to find out what happened to Harglin's family, the rest of them.
Are you sure?
Oh,
That's
Yes, Will has to know.
oh no.
You get you go through 3 or 4 people who don't know before you find someone who had seen the family, and they just immediately clam up and look at their feet, and body language says, "Oh no."
Force it out of him, Will.
Yeah, Will picks them up, walks up a really tall building.
you're gonna Batman these people?
Actually, yes.
Swear to me! All you're gonna get is they're all dead, and then they start crying.
So Will particularly feels, I guess he wouldn't say responsible for their deaths, but in a way responsible for them being here, like helping them get here. Granted, they would have probably just gotten eaten by the dragon, or any other number of things.
You
could
saved
happen.
them from that horrible fate, Will. Good job.
Yeah, we saved them from one fate, but not from another. So as an apology, if there's any remains or anything that he can find, he'd like to make a grave for them, bury them, and give them pray to Saloon that she guides them on their final path to the afterlife.
Yeah, you having been in the central chamber and seen the pile of leftovers in the back, you're pretty sure it's better to make a marker than to try and find an actual body and bury it.
Okay. Yeah, see, I didn't know how they were disposing of them. Were they just like throwing them in a pile?
Depends on where you were in the city.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, then he'll just make a marker. See, I was almost thinking like maybe they were like, you know, if there was some sort of. I guess these guys probably aren't all that sophisticated
So,
in terms of processing, huh?
Recall when you saw Harglin consumed, he was tossed in a corner, and then other humanoids immediately descended on the corpse. So,
Ooh. Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean,
Sorry.
Will of course didn't, but Nick did.
I can't cast 5th level spells, so you don't get reincarnations for free.
So So Will mark a God. Yeah, it's a shame that I can't find even just like a small. Like I was thinking, like, oh wait, what about their wagon? Where's their wagon?
Oh, this poor family.
I want it. I don't care what it is. I'll put like a teddy bear in front of this or something.
You talk to 3 or 4 people before some person looks down and goes, "Oh no, their wagon."
No, the wagon got its brain sucked.
No, you do. It's actually kind of creepy. Did you see From Dusk Till Dawn?
From Dusk Till Dawn. I don't
Tarantino.
think so.
Tarantino movie? Vampires?
No, I don't. Vampires.
All right,
movie.
never mind.
Selma
That
Hayek.
reference won't work. So, behind one of the butchers in the outer town is a small collection, small being like, I don't know, 10 to 20 at this point, collection of various carts, cartwheels. Going through that pile or that yard, I guess, you do find the cart that you recall getting just a bit of a ride in as you guys kind of cycled through the walking duty. So you are able to find that family's cart in a collection of quite a number of carts without horses anymore.
Oh God.
Well, I would like to find something, just something that I can put on the marker, just as like a final. Yes.
Okay, so on the gravestone, you place a shell necklace and a kind of patchwork doll that had been in one of the crates.
All right, and then I say my prayer to Saloon, and then I'm done.
And then he's out.
Yep. Peace. Will walks
Will out.
up,
Peace.
Will walks up a wall.
All right.
I just realized Will makes a great mountain climber now.
That's cheating.
Just a mountain walker, really.
Son of a bitch.
Mountains are still
Cheating.
big, yo. You only get your normal movement speed.
That's okay.
I got all day. I'm walking up this mountain. All right. Will has taken some time to mourn the loss of the family you guys arrived here with, in his own way. Is there anything anyone else would like to do specifically here in town, with any of the newly freed citizenry of Dun Moreau, with the party? Let me know.
As there are the head of day. Out of any of the shops that are open, do any of them specialize in magical items or anything?
Or, bosses.
Unknown mushrooms.
We'll get to that.
Hey, real quick, Brandon, I'm sorry to interject. Did I ever give the Fuck, I had a rock.
Uh-huh.
The okayish gray orange lichen.
A lichen.
Yeah, lichen. Did I say lichen? Lichen? Did
No, this is an
it's
undead
still-
plant. It's a lichen.
yeah? Is it in my? It's in my inventory still. Did I ever give that to Blaskin? Blaskin, did I? Because I know I
Did
gave
you?
it to
Yeah,
you,
I think we talked about it.
but I didn't transfer it to your inventory yet, did I?
Not officially.
Okay, I just put it in the party sheet. Would you please take that, sir?
I would like to send you my like, and
I'm
Please accept
actually
it.
not sure how to do that.
Hang on.
oh,
can I-
so he
can I
dropped
do
it in
that?
the party sheet?
Yeah, because I don't think I can. Can I give it directly to Blaskin?
No, you can't. But if you drop it in the parcel items, then Blaskin, if you open the party sheet, the eye with the 3 heads next to it in the top right, then parcel items, you can grab that item and drag it to your inventory.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's how, in some cases, folks will grab specific items out of like a treasure everybody opened, things like that. And we all see it in chat. Blaskin Greenheart stole the okayish Great Ones like rock.
It said stole that. That'd be great if it actually did.
Your
Everybody sees
ninjaing
it,
items.
It's not like he stole our rock.
God damn it.
Oh no.
That rock was going to solve the entire campaign.
That rock was the MacGuffin all along.
Oh, I got MacGuffins for you guys. What? No, nothing.
Did Flint ever find that tablet he was looking for?
You mean the one he's been carrying the whole time?
Oh, did we? Okay, I guess I'm just zoned out on that. And it never came up again.
It's okay. You can ask him about it afterwards. He has all kinds
Anyway,
of notes made.
Yeah, I'm gonna go looking for magical items.
Sure. Blaskin, roll me a. What would you be doing? I can't think of all the skills right now. Looking at your character sheet, roll me a charisma check.
Oh no. Why are you like this? That's a 3. That's a 2.
You have a -1. Oh no. Oh.
You sure it's not a wisdom perception check? Maybe
Nope.
I'm looking around.
Sure, you're looking around and you're talking to everybody and asking about magical items, and the constant response you are getting from everyone that you investigate with is like, "Are you serious? Like, we're totally, appreciative that you all came in and helped save the city, but our economy's gone to shite right now. We got to get everything back up on our feet, and we mostly make mundane items here, so..."
I thought for sure you were going to say something like, "You're looking for magical items. You are the one that we have." I thought that's where you were going with that.
Can we take you apart? No.
No.
Unfortunately, you don't get any sense that there are readily available magical trinkets for sale in this town that has just been released from the stranglehold of an invading manipulative force.
What the fuck good are they?
You know what? There is something else actually.
That's the citizen of the town. Wow.
What's wrong with you? Don't you know who I am? I'm the hero Blaskin. Sell
The
me
hammer of
something
Dun Moreau.
Yeah, just wait.
Like Blaskin.
It's like, you know we don't sell magical items here, right? You know that, right? It's like, this is when I take 11 Barbarian Rage.
Flint just
So-
storms up to Blaskin and he's like, "What have you been doing?"
Is there a
Yes, Will?
Will, since we've saved the town and we're all like, I assume we're taking some time to like recover and everything's kind of getting fixed up. Will wants to find out if there is, and he's going to talk to the party about it as well. He's going to mention, since seems like we might have a little bit of time, we could do a little asking around to see if anyone here knows anything about where we can find Tharakos Vaspia. Or maybe
Excuse you? I'm sorry, what was that? It's tight.
like maybe they have like a library or some like knowledge, or even some of the older dwarves here know something. I don't know, Flint, where would you go for
Will?
Yeah.
Roll me an intelligence check, please.
Oh, stop asking me for intelligence, damn it.
No, this is before you even spoke up. I gotta do this first.
Before
kinda
you
wish
even
that
open your mouth.
My intelligence is so low, I don't even know where to look for it.
I like to think that Will asked for like, hey, where's the library? And he's directed to a brewery.
I'm drinking a book.
No, you walk in and it's like different alcohols on the shelf. This is the library.
You mean the library?
Hey.
Speaking of breweries, we need to start making Blaskin's Berry Blasters.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah,
Talking to me?
Yeah, so you ask around, or you ask the party, or...
Yeah, well, I asked Flint first. I say, Flint, where would you go here in your town to find, any information such as this?
Like a library.
Okay, well, where is it?
I'm gonna point it out to him on the map.
All right,
It's right there.
And because
he tells you you were really close to it about half an hour ago.
Yeah.
I thought for sure you're going to say it's like you're standing in front of the library asking him where the library's at.
and since Will is very proficient at maps, he knows exactly where that is.
He gets lost anyway.
Oh, I was right there.
Yep. That is actually funny enough. I was rereading some of my things, and I want to say that has to do with my wander. Is it my wanderer thing?
So I see the wand.
Yes, his wand.
Outlander. I think that's what it is. I think it has something to do with Outlander. Proficient. Nope.
Or 1 sec, I gotta go buy a break. BRB.
Okay.
We love you too. Spoiler alert. God, I love Nathan Fillion.
Has he acted in anything recently?
No.
You can still love him.
I mean, that's fine. He's just kind of getting old now. People want a Firefly reunion. I'm like, no, you don't.
Don't hurt yourself.
Re-entry. All right. I'm back. Did we lose anybody?
Yes, everyone's dead.
Damn it! What did you do?
During
I'm
our
alright.
downtime,
enough to survive the
You
apocalypse.
went to the library. What
Yeah.
else can I say?
Yeah.
God damn it! Dewey
so I
doesn't
find
know
the
system.
library.
yeah. And speaking of library and stuff, I wanted to find out during our downtime here if there's any arcane knowledge available, basically for more spells.
Okay. So tell you what. Before we dive out in different directions, given the day that you all just pushed through, when you came out into the outer town, you saw that it was kind of twilight. So, is there any attempt to like take a rest, or
Flint
are you
will
pushing
definitely
through?
Yeah, let's find a place to crash.
Flint is big hurt.
How big is
Okay.
Flint's apartment?
I mean, you could find out.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless your soul.
Do you want to
thanks.
find out? I mean, do you guys just want to like?
Are you gonna?
Today was bullshit. Let's go hang at Flint's place.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flint's been hyping it up the whole time. I gotta go see it now.
Oh
I
God.
figured unless you had
Hold
something
on.
changed, it would
Hold
be
on.
like
I didn't hype up
spend a week
anything.
downtime.
What was that, Bradley?
I said I figured unless you have something planned or somebody wants to do something specific, it'd be like, okay, you take the next 3 weeks off, rest, help people learn, do stuff, train.
Well, I'm not even going to make people roll for this. You do know that the whole purpose of coming here was to help Flint out, so then he would help you guys on your actual task.
Mhm.
Which wasn't like, this is on fire burning, but I think you would be a little bit stretched to think you could take like the next 3 weeks off to help out the city.
Okay, maybe.
Excuse me.
You're excused.
I
Bless
swear.
you.
What is going on?
Did
Two
you just
people
say
keep talking every time.
Did you just say we weren't gonna stay here forever?
Yeah.
All right.
That
I'm
was the
deeply
deal
upset.
you made, Flint. It's like, hey, you help me rescue my city, I'm with you. Just
Well,
to
if they want
remind
us
you
to
of your
stay-
own backstory.
Well, you know what? I take it back.
It just occurred to me I actually just got a lot of spells.
I'm just imagining
Blaskin
Blaskin
had
sitting
his-
back out, like, outside the conversation of the party, just going, oh, do.
No, like we're all just like sleeping and he's in sleep mode and then he just makes his realization. He just boots up and he's like, guys! Oh my god!
That's what I can do.
I just got a patch!
That's what I can do.
It's the first patch I've gotten in 4,000 years.
Why am I still running on Windows XP?
I thought you were gonna say 95.
I said it specifically for that.
Microsoft's over there like, Jesus, just take an upgrade, please. We'll pay you, please.
I went to all the trouble of wiring up the soundboard. I gotta use it when I can. And
Hey, you know what? I hooked you up there, Brandon. You're welcome.
Thanks for the setup. All right, so Flint, if you guys are trying to just recoup after the end of your very heroic and quite PTSD-inducing day for several of you, are you inviting them back to your abode to find a comfortable place to crash?
Yeah. I'll let him know. Well, I mean, there's not a lot of places to stay, but if you'd like, we could always hang out at my place and drink and get to know each other. Have a good time.
First time in how long since we've been together?
Listen, all right, my town was under attack by brain scramblers. Give me a break.
I hope I get an apology, first of all, because as soon as you tumbled through that portal, I was the first one to help you up, and you, like, turned around and you're just like, get away from my tablet. Like, I didn't want to know if you had games on your tablet. I just wanted to help you.
Damn it, she beat me to the iPad joke.
I don't even know if it's Android or iPhone.
I hate this.
So, Tony levels the request for an apology after all of the chaos, and somehow this has never come up in the days of travel you guys spent on horseback or on ships.
Oh, yeah, now she can hold it over his head. She's like blackmail now.
Okay. Tony.
Flint.
I'm sorry. Also, I'd like to thank you all. So let's go back to my place and get something to drink. It's been a long day.
I was half expecting Flint to just look at Tony and say, I'm sorry that you're such a bitch, and then take off.
Just runs off into the distance.
Yeah.
I'm a freaking blur.
All right, Flint, roll a persuasion. No, that's up to Tony. All right, are you all taking him up on his offer? Tony,
Come on.
I don't know what you're conflicted with, but you just
Oh
let me
no, I
know.
was just making a joke.
Okay,
She's
cool.
She's really
Cool,
thinking
cool.
this apology over.
I think she's distracted by other thoughts.
Oh yeah,
Not
for
related.
sure.
Not related to Flint at all.
No.
I'm busy flipping through the player's handbook right now while you guys are talking, looking for what a paladin's starting gold is.
Oh God.
Holy crap, he's gonna find his wallet! Oh no, what's in it?
What's in it?
I thought he grabbed his wallet. Didn't we make a whole deal about going down the one arm so he could grab his wallet earlier?
No.
No!
No?
Listen, all right. We were busy.
He's been dangling that in front of me for months.
This is when we look in Flint's wallet and find out that he's on his ID doesn't say Paladin, it says Hexblade Warlock.
Oh, crap.
Sweats nervously.
Alright, I'll figure that out here in a minute. Yeah, so you guys all head with Flint back into the mountain, confident that the threat of shape-shifting assholes outside the city proper has been thoroughly skewered.
Absolved.
And with some kind of awkward conversations with some of the Belizeans on your way, there are a couple that are kind of turning themselves in just out of guilt and heading into the city. There are others that are just like leaving their weapons and then heading down the road back towards one of the junctures that would lead kind of around the Iron Spine Range and back to their own home, with some kind of less than exuberant mentions of what was left of their hometown. But yeah, you head back into Dunmoreau, you head through the main concourse and then down one of the internal arms, and Flint leads you up to, well, how would you define your apartment, Flint?
Didn't we do that a while ago?
Yeah, you wrote it down, and now you get to tell them.
Why do I have
your
to tell
apartment,
them?
Flint? Wallet filled.
Stacked
just-
to the roof with wallets.
It's just a single room with a table in it, with a wallet in the center of the table.
Here's your chair.
Oh, I found it. Good. I stalled long enough.
You found my wallet?
No, I found the notes I needed.
Oh.
Go ahead. Describe. It's your apartment, dude.
The chat is not loading for me. I wanted to go back to what like literally it's just a bunch of like blank bubbles. Like there's supposed to be things there, they're not there. It's not
Are you
loading.
talking about Discord? Is that
Yes.
literally the only place you ever wrote this down was when I asked you
Yeah.
directly?
Do I look like some sort of brainiac?
I mean, Brandon and I did the same thing, but we were smart enough to pin it.
The chat's not loading.
All right.
It literally
Here's
is fucking bubbles.
Here you go, guys. Flint's personal home is a small, comfortable one-room. You said one room. Is a small, comfortable one room with a chair, a wall of books, and a table with various tools scattered on it. Hammers, religious symbols, unfinished metalwork, personal notes on everything he reads. A lone pipe on the table stands. It hasn't been used in the last few days/weeks. The other room in the apartment is his bedroom, filled with shelves of mementos and paintings of the places he's gone on work or local favorites. He's had that's not something I read out loud.
It wasn't in the box text.
So it sounds like a two-room place.
I like the description of there's a wall of books. It's like he ran out of brick and stone, and it's just a wall made out of books.
It was cheaper this way.
We were already in the mountain, but it needed a wall.
A wall of friendship.
Anyway, so now that I have refreshed your memory, Sir Flint, is there any more detail or flavor you would like to add as they enter the facade and experience your bachelorhood?
Not really. That's pretty good. Some paintings, places I've been, reading, pipes, the lone chair. Not a lot of visitors.
What? There's no posters of your favorite bands?
No. That's barbaric.
He says as he tears down his one poster.
I thought for sure it was going to be like, no, that's barbaric. And he has like a whole bunch of women in bikinis or something.
It's called anime.
Oh no. Oh no.
Flint's a weeb!
Flint, you are able to gather some resources from a couple neighboring apartments, which you guys... Yeah. Some of them look like they've actually been damaged or ransacked. But you're able to gather up some linens, a couple bedrolls, and you basically set up a sleepover in your front room. You push the table to the corner and make sure there's enough space for everyone to actually be able to rest and keep... There's an uneasy energy after everything that just went down that having people around just feels safer. But you're able to set up, like, you have your bedroom in the back, and it's up to you if you invite anyone back there, but you set everyone up with a bedroll in the main room otherwise.
I'm definitely going back to my room and grabbing 2 large bottles of alcohol.
Oh, sure. What do you have? You've got a personal bar back there, so what do you bring out?
As dwarves do.
I mean, what do you think? It's just books back there? Come on.
They're all books with the middle's been cut out to fit more booze in it.
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but it's your apartment, so you tell me how this story plays.
One very nice wine from one of my out of town ventures. It's one of my favorites. And the other one is one that I usually just get when I'm here. It's very good. They're both very strong.
So you have a Parthen wine, actually, from when you ventured a bit south and got to do a bit of trade with some of the pilgrims coming up the road. Very well known for having or packing quite a punch, kind of like a what's the Viking, the blood wine, mead. Yeah, so it's stronger like a mead, but it comes from one of the wineries down in the Parthen region, and the other is a very strong kind of peaty, not whiskey. What's the word I'm looking for? If anyone's listening, aside from this party, I don't know all of my alcohols, but
There's gin,
a
there's
Scotch.
tequila.
Yeah, a very peaty Scotch from out of Vault itself, the capital of Grimspire.
Excellent. I'm going to give Tony one of them, and I'm going to sit opposite her, and I'm going to take the other one, and I'm going to fill up a big old mug of it, and I'm going to just hand it off to whoever's next to me. Whoever calls
Will.
dibs first, really. Will? All right, excellent. To Will.
What did you give me?
I gave you the wine.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I'm
set
sorry.
it down.
Yeah. What is Will drinking? Is it also
That's
wine?
the Scotch.
The Scotch. All right.
Down the whole bottle.
Will's gonna
Down the
roll
whole
to find out if he's a Scotch man. Brandon, is he a Scotch man?
Is he
Was that a con roll?
Was that a con roll?
No, that was just a regular D20
I'm gonna play that as a con roll. Oh no.
+2.
Oh no.
No,
It's not
I mean,
a one.
it was a yes.
Was
It's
it a
more of a
2?
yes or no. Does Will like it or not?
Will struggles to keep it down.
Okay.
Will struggles a lot to keep it down. Will excuses himself from the room and struggles out in the alleyway, not keeping it down.
Will's gonna, in that case, wash it down with some remaining desert cordial.
You're gonna wash it down with more.
So it had a very intense sensation of like licking the ashes of a campfire. Yeah, that did not agree well with your.
All right. Looks like I'm drinking wine with Tony. Thanks for sharing, Flynn.
It was thick and intense and very much like hit the back of your throat and immediately came back out.
Can I try?
Sure.
Absolutely.
What do I do?
I do.
Give a con save.
One con save, please.
It's
Does she
I
need
don't
to
know.
Does she need some
So-
desert cordial too?
No, I don't know what Tony's experience with different liquors has been in her lifetime, but
None.
0.
it's an intense kind of burn as you swallow it, like worse than some of the medicinal attention you have received or tasting some of the things in your training at the temple. But you find the ability to kind of... It's not wholly horrible. There are certain notes in the flavor that you pick out that, like, oh, those would be nice if they were on their own. There's this intense alcoholic burning in my throat going down, and all of a sudden my entire upper torso feels hot, but you do manage to not make a scene and kind of demurely swallow and nod and like,
And then I pass the cup down. I'm like, was that really that bad? It's not as bad. I say to Will.
No, Will's still outside.
Oh.
I don't think.
Coughing and spitting outside.
Yeah, I think Will might just be staying outside for a little bit and drinking himself some desert cordial or cordial. Cordial. Thank you.
I prefer concordial.
Yeah,
That's
let
plain.
drink some too.
That's the one and only sip she takes.
tell you what, he's gonna down a potion of healing to make up for that.
Lucky's going to grab some drink and some pocket sausages.
Yep.
I
What are you
actually
drinking?
choose to believe that Will pulled out the healing potion, thought it was more booze, and downed it. In your drunkenness, you're like, "Oh, this red, oh, this is good."
Ew, bowl of scrumpy.
Yeah, what's it like out in the hall? Is it pretty out here?
It's appreciably calm. You hear off in the distance, echoing off the walls, some songs, some just like cheers and some general chat as folks are, sharing a meal together. There are also hints of, sadness. There's definitely people sobbing and mourning those lost. But the overall vibe you're getting from the space you're in and the sounds you're hearing is largely pleasant, which is
there yeah, it's nice. No, I was gonna say, is there like a chair? Like, is this like a front, like a deck, or like a like a front yard kind of thing, where maybe?
So he had a very simple. I mean, there's no yards; it's underground.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, like, is there like a porch with like chairs I could like sit down on, or anywhere that I could like park myself?
So Flint's place was a fairly simple entrance. It was flat up against the general wall of facades. There hadn't been, any buildup of like a patio space, but you can, from across the hallway, you can easily go run and like grab a chair or just sit in their chair that was over there. There are certainly options around you where you can just kind of recline and experience the space.
Yeah, I would like to do that. If there's like a chair or something like right.
So we get together to hang out, and you go, "I'm gonna sit outside."
Well, you did poison him.
Yeah,
I did no such thing.
Will's gonna just stay. He's gonna hide for a little bit, let his poor body recover.
Let the tears dry on his face.
Yep. Yeah, he'll just find like a chair or something. He'll just hang out.
What about what's Blasking doing with the alcohol? Most importantly,
Probably staring at it.
Burning it for fuel.
I don't know. I can't really drink it, so I probably just don't have any.
So Blaskin just kind of waves it off, like, all good?
Dude, I don't drink, right? It's like, what are you, a pussy? No, like, I physically am incapable.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
He just holds up both of his hands, have big black X's across them. Hardcore. Okay, maybe that's beyond your time. Anyway.
Hardcore.
Or, sorry, straight edge, not hardcore. Hey, internet, go ahead and double check me. Anyway.
Actually, I just thought of something that maybe I could do to get this alcohol in me.
Uh-oh.
I've heard that sentence before.
Follow me on this. I'm gonna wild shape into an animal and then drink the booze.
Oh.
An ape.
Oh god. It was gonna be so calm. It was gonna be a nice evening.
Not anymore.
So the dwarf and the halflings are the only ones that can drink this?
What was that, Bradley?
I was saying, so is the dwarf and the halfling the only ones that can stand this?
No, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna shift into a we'll just go with ape, I guess.
Oh god.
I was
Stay on
hoping you would
theme.
become a giant metal bear. Lose all cool.
You'd have to pour the alcohol into my mouth for me.
Roar.
I mean, I could put it in a bowl for you.
Ew. I mean, I guess that's fair, but still.
Ugh.
Become a panda bear, that
Okay,
way you can
so-
roll around all dumb.
With no warning, Blaskin just shifts kind of slightly shorter than his normal form into a more ape-like shape where the fur is various metallic bristles and there are kind of wood grain to the musculature of the extremities, the muscles in the arms, the legs, down like the back of the torso and things. And then reaches for the bottle.
I'm already walking out.
This is the only way I can drink
She's
booze
just got
while I
hands
can
up like, nope.
Well, you gotta give somebody the wine.
So, do you want me to roll con?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Here's the question: are we going to take my subclass change into effect here?
That's a note for later. So I just want to know what your ape form con is.
It's the same as mine. Actually, it's +2. It's
Okay, then go
14.
for it. You're fine.
Oh,
You swill it back with a mechanically ape-like after.
when I shift back, does it just like seep out of all my metal plates?
There's just a little tinge of like steam energy, like as you like almost. It's weird. All of the various components of your ape form just kind of relax a little bit backwards into your normal form. So it's like they separate a bit, things shift just slightly, and as all of the different components move back into the normal space, you see just this little bit of like exude off of them.
Nice. All right, cool. Blaskin's finally had something to drink for the first time in his life.
Join
As
the
the light
party.
coming out of his eyes kind of wobbles a little bit and then resettles.
It's like a broken, crap, not neon light. Those lights that they usually put in the top of larger buildings.
Oh yeah, I'm having trouble thinking of the word too.
Spotlight?
No.
No.
They're usually flashing a lot, like the light in my
Strobe
bathroom.
lights?
Garrett.
A strobe?
No, God, what? I have a strobe in my bathroom. That's what it. I'm gonna fucking strangle you.
Fluorescent?
Fluorescent.
Yes.
Sorry, did Bradley say that a second ago?
No.
I was thinking it, but I'm like, fluorescents aren't just on the side of buildings; they're like in everybody's house.
Right.
Oh, this is actually the first apartment I've had with a fluorescent. So, yeah, it's
I'm
okay.
imagining a bathroom with a strobe light now.
Blaskin, activate strobe mode.
All right, so bottles been passed around. Will is outside enjoying the calm. Tony has thrown her hands up and avoided Ape Blaskin trying to swill the incredibly strong dwarven scotch down. You guys just got to wrap the evening.
We,
Is there anything anybody else wants to do before we have a rest?
I would like to ask Lucky, so how did you all meet?
Actually, it's kind of a weird story. I think we all walking into Haversham's from different worlds or places, and happened to be all at the same time, and were requested to do some work for Haversham.
You guys all came from different worlds?
At this point, Will probably come back in. Is that enough peace and quiet?
Wiping his lip.
Yep.
Wiping his last tears away.
Yeah, because I think Tony comes from Waterdeep, was it? I look at Tony.
No, that was you. I'm just gonna jump in there because you would have known that. That was you.
You say that was you. Who are you talking? Who's the you?
Lucky, you came from Waterdeep. That was your hometown.
I thought I was from Greyhawk. Where's Tony from?
Lucky's like arguing with God coming into the ceiling.
All right, I'm gonna roll way back to our start notes.
Oh my
I
god.
don't remember. Because if I picked, I'm just thinking it'd be very strange for me to pick Waterdeep when I hate the Forgotten Realms.
I have no idea where I'm from.
Oh no. Okay, so
The sigh.
I'm surprised to hear you say that now because that's where we started you.
Well, that's
You
fine
were
if
in
we did. I don't
Waterdeep.
remember. I'm just saying if I was picking you, maybe you signed me there. I don't remember just because.
Oh, so I think you just said like, I don't care, give me a place, and so I gave you a start location, and then
Okay.
you immediately got out of there, so it never came up.
Yeah, I don't think we've been back because we've been to
If
Tony's
it
place.
matters,
but we haven't-
if we for some reason need to go back to where I'm from, then I'm actually from Greyhawk. If it doesn't
All right,
matter,
then you and I
don't
we'll catch up after. But no, Tony was from. You would have enough awareness based on your character. Tony was from Marsember, so that's basically what Lucky would have thrown out. Is that he had heard that was her town of origin, because you guys actually went back there and did some stuff before traveling around the Sea of Stars.
Hold on. I just opened a document for Tony, and it literally says it was last updated November 11, 2018.
Damn.
So you've been
We
keeping
had
up
a
on those
break
notes,
in there.
huh?
I
You
mean,
guys
I
did an
know.
entire chapter.
I know, but fuck.
It's like we've kept this
Last
hobby up for a
modified.
while.
Last modified November 18, 2018.
So what I'm hearing is you don't really care that much about your backstory.
No, because the last thing I added on there was what you sent me. Like, you sent me all of, like, how Tony basically ended up where she was. And that's when I last updated it. Like, that's Tony's page.
Don't you keep notes for like when we first started? Was it like February of some of
Oh
18?
god, I stopped that long ago.
Yeah.
Because I started falling asleep, and then I got depressed, and then I just lost track.
I just don't remember if it's going to be 2 or 3 years coming up. I mean, 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
No, we started February 2018. For sure.
So we're on Orthala, which is the planet. I made these notes myself. Orthala
Wait,
is our
but-
planet.
Hold on.
And then
We're getting way off track. So
oh yeah.
One thing
Flint
at a time.
asked Lucky how you all met.
I go through the story.
Lucky, so you and I will catch up afterwards, but how would Lucky tell where he came from then?
I'm not going to worry about it right now if we're going to change. So now, is Will and Tony from this world?
Will's from this world.
Tony's not.
Okay, where's Marsember?
Marsember is a Forgotten Realms city.
Okay. Yeah, then I would be from a different place. I say because if they're both from here, then just pick a random place for me to be on this planet. If it's a homebrew. Now I would explain where I was at, what city. I walk through the door and explain just how all the.
Ferocious
The
scribbles in
background.
the background as he's
Yep.
editing everything.
Oh no, that was my finger trying to scrape some stuff off my keyboard. Actually,
So Tony is
Sure,
the one from
sure.
Talios then.
I don't use a pencil.
Anyway,
If I'm making furious notes, it's going to sound more like.
Toril, I believe, is the planet.
Okay.
So you get a whole flurry of information from the various party members, hearing all kinds of names of cities you've never been to or heard of, to include the concept of entire worlds that aren't this one. So that's the kind of fire hose of information you get when you ask that question.
I kind of like the idea that he asks it, and when they get to Blaskin, he's just like, "You found me on a boat. That's where I was.
That's where I'm from.
That is
Yeah.
where I exist.
I woke up 3 years ago, and I was on a boat. Boom. Fast forward to now."
Really restraining the I'm on a boat.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the boat. It
I
a lot of
freaking
moving.
evil eye Flynn when he says that. I wasn't a fan of the boat. What?
You
Who's
My
more of a
entire
food?
existence. Brashear leans in from outside the room. I'm using the wrong accent.
Brashear says.
Crush you.
I've been having so many drinks.
Identity crisis.
He's become a dwarf.
Okay, I
Dimmer
have to.
really has an effect on people.
He just like completely silently showed up and then offers, I'm from Helm. And then takes another swig of a bottle that he found on his way up.
Would I recognize where that's at?
Yeah, that's the shoehorn of the region that all of your different like provinces are part of Arconis in general. Helm is the oldest and the one on the eastern end of the continent. It's where people first settled.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he just kind of chuckles to himself and sits down on a chair outside.
Well, would you like to come inside, Brashear?
Oh, sure. My accent keeps changing as I drink water. Oh, sure. And just like rotates his chair from outside the door to inside the door.
You can sit next to Blaskin. Just the giant gorilla that is now drinking.
I'm not.
Oh, he shifted back.
Oh, he shifted back just the one time?
Yeah, he literally
feel-
shifted into a gorilla form to take a shot, and then like
I
burned it
feel-
off as he shifted back to himself.
I feel hurted.
I'm not impressed by your alcohol, by the way.
You only had one of them!
Oh, was I supposed to have more?
There were
We only
two
had
of
one of
them.
the alcohols.
Oh, well, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not burning another wild shift for your booze.
Coward.
So, having gotten a flurry of information when you asked a question as simple as, "So, how'd you all meet?"
Yeah.
What else would Flint like to do?
Well, how long have you been working for the Great Circle? Or, I don't know if he
Like,
really hired you on for that.
6 months or something. 6 weeks.
Ouch.
Six-
Sorry, you asked that, and Blaskin's like 3 days.
30.
Blaskin's like working for the who?
Remember, y'all just picked me up
Brashear's
off
like
a ship.
working for the who? Hold on, Brashear's French now.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I'm like legit choking.
That's not
Stop
good.
it.
Can we legit Heimlich you?
No.
No. If they die, they die.
If you die in D&D, you die for real.
Oh, I better quit while I'm ahead.
Oh my god, that's stupid.
Yes.
It's just facts. Why are you afraid of the truth?
Garrett, now you know how I run my exalted games.
So
We're done.
Flint
I'll be back
asked-
to, like, there'd be one
Yes.
person left.
Flint asked a question to the party.
to the people who would be able to answer the question that know more than me. So, not Blaskin.
Will, Tony, Lucky.
Yes.
Oh my god.
How long have you been working for the Gray Circle? Yes.
That's the
Well, I think from what
answer.
you're saying, for how long it took, we haven't been working for them that long. Like a matter of months, isn't it?
Well, that's more of an answer than I think I've got so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he just call you into the back room one day and tell you, I need you to go find this magic doorknob?
No, I found a letter in the wild.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was addressed to me, but it was. I don't know how it got to where it got, but I found it amongst the belongings of a wagon I was searching.
Anybody else get
He's
any
doing
magic
good so far.
Yeah. I mean, what you want my whole story?
DM's over here scanning all the backstory notes.
Oh, are you kidding me? I just finished reading through my backstory to like catch myself back up on it. I'm from Inhathir, which is a city.
Amazing.
In
In
case
the
you didn't
place.
know.
It is a noun as
Will
well.
is literally
It is-
reading it off of a fucking page.
It's a city on Bellador, but I left Inhathir a while back without giving too many specifics as to the time. I'd basically been just a ranger in the wild, just going as I please. And then one day I found a letter addressed to myself from Haversham asking for my help, and here I am.
Achievement unlocked.
Tell backstory.
That's so well timed. I'm just getting a text. He's like, he finishes the story. Ding.
I'm
my
sorry.
That was perfect.
Legendary achievement.
All right.
100 points.
Yeah. So you
I level up again.
just re-leveled to 8.
Okay. Well, if he was allowed to take time to read his backstory, I guess I'll go ahead and do the same thing.
Bless your soul.
I didn't. I just skimmed through it.
I asked Saloon to bless her soul.
Stop.
Bounce.
I'm from the city of Marsember. I guess I was there originally. However, I was how to say it? I kind of grew up on the streets with my sibling until we were taken under the wing of a group of people. And I was just kind of living my life with my sibling to I guess help. I was adopted by these group of monks, and with my gift of healing, I was just helping these people out until I received a letter myself from Haversham to fulfill a certain wish for my sibling, and I now found myself here, drinking whatever fluid this is, experienced near death, and yeah.
That is such a perfect description of this entire campaign.
Just experiencing near death.
The whole
Constantly.
thing, like, I'm sorry. I'm just sitting back, and that was beautiful.
Thank you.
So,
So you're getting the sense, Flint. There is a wide variety of story origins and colorful differences between the people who are like piping up and giving their information. Brashear, after Tony, just kind of leans forward and goes, I've been here my entire life in Castelar, and yep, just keeping the peace. Didn't do any otherworldly things. Now I'm really curious.
oh,
That's exactly what some would say if they had done otherworldly things.
And he's just like, he was looking over at you, Will, in particular, like staring.
when he said he's curious.
Yeah.
Will doesn't swing that way.
You trying to say something, Brashear?
I just know that
No,
I've
I'm
spent
pretty
years
sure
looking for you.
Pretty sure I succeeded in saying something.
But you failed in saying something else.
What?
I'm going to go back to my liquor right now.
Well, Brashear, if you ever want to see another
He
world,
pulls an "I'm too old for this shit" move and just like relaxes back with the bottle.
well, if he ever
Over
wants to
his
see,
chest.
if he ever wants to see another world, he knows where to find us.
Whoa!
Whole new
So,
world?
how does he pull you all together from your separate worlds and move you about and
It's the
all
tea
of
shop.
that?
So Will looks around like it's a huge secret. And he looks at everyone like wide eyes, and he leans forward and he's like, He whispers, "Do you really want to know?"
Yeah, well, I found a piece of paper kind of blew into my face. Said that
It's magic.
I needed to meet at Haversham's.
I have no fucking idea.
So that's where I went, and here we are.
He's just gonna drink for like the next 5 or 6 seconds.
Will's just
Sure.
gonna laugh his ass off.
It's funny because it's true, but it's also funny because it's funny.
Haha!
Yeah, so Flint, you rolling a dice over here. Shh. I didn't do this. Flint, I'll send you a note.
Okay.
But you recline and kind of reserve yourself to a bit of the comfort of the warmth of alcoholic embrace. After everything that you went through today and everything you saw happening in your city, and finally getting here and just finding that release of find my family, find my kin, and make sure they're okay, and all of that coming to fruition. Man, it feels good to just like relax your muscles, relax your tension, and just get fucking wasted, honestly. You're getting a whole lot of information from these people in a whole spectrum of answers that you were not ready for. So
Especially not the last one.
we will handle some of that. And I'll send you a note about the roll that I made for you. So
Anybody want to know anything more about Dunmoreau or?
yeah, you guys hear this through a little bit of haze of anybody want. He's obviously honest beyond his own means, and
I lean over and I like kind of like pat him on the knee, And as I do that, I do like healing, like a small healing word, and he's not as drunk anymore.
Lesser restoration.
But
We'll go with that. That's funny.
Will then
Tony steals some of your buzz.
Will hands him another one of the bottles to help him bring back the buzz.
I'm gonna need twice the amount of alcohol now.
So Tony leans over and claps your knee, and you find yourself bizarrely more alert than you remember being when you were like cradling a bottle.
He's just gonna look down at the bottle and like just stare, like look at the back of it, like what's that? I don't even understand.
Which is funny because Tony, you've used this in the past when some of the monks who were a little less self-disciplined were definitely off their keel, and you knew how to kind of bring them back to normalcy, which was helpful in the temple there. And so you're using the same mechanism, and you're getting a vastly different reaction from this dwarf who you guys have been following and helping to save his own town. He's like, what? What?
Well, that didn't happen last time. He's gonna lean in to the group and be like, "Listen, when that Grayskin told me that my mom was dead, I thought I was gonna burn everything down. But it's okay. She's not dead."
At least your parents are alive.
That was a close one.
Ow.
Flint's gonna go get the pipe in the back room and stuff it and hold his booze and his pipe close.
And pass the fuck out.
He's probably not even.
Are we being YouTube acceptable? Crap.
Oh. Oops.
What were you doing that wasn't acceptable?
He said the no word.
Which no word?
Crap.
Yep.
I don't care. I think copyright music is the only thing that's an issue at the moment.
Does anybody else want to do anything with the rest of their evening before they collapse into exhaustion?
Nope. The only thing Lucky's wanting to do is just, like I said earlier, if they're in the next day or two finding any kind of extra spells or something around the area, and maybe getting a couple of things made by the dwarves for current spells.
Gotcha. I will follow up with that then. Okay, then you all kind of tuck into the bedrolls that Flint has made ready for you, not thinking too hard about where some of those resources came from and who might not be coming back home for them. And let's see. Oh, Flint.
Yes.
You find your wallet.
Yay!
You get 42 gold.
Whew, thank God.
Your own gold. Your money.
My money.
It's all
You
yours.
find
Flint.
it. Your driver's license is in there for all of the horses that you need to ride.
Absolutely. It's phenomenal. Is my paladin
your-
license
your-
in there?
You've got your Costco Paladin card. Yeah.
Excellent. I am complete now.
So you can add 42 gold to your inventory, but you have your own personal purse back. You are no longer lost in the sea of extraplanar people with no money. Although I'm pretty sure you earned more than that on your way back to your wallet. But anyway. So Blaskin, everybody else beds down for the night. What is your modus operandi for night cycle? Blaskin? Scott?
He's
Yep.
dead.
Sorry, I kind of zoned out there. I'm getting really tired.
Sorry, that's perfect. Thematically. What's Blaskin's general operation when the rest of the flesh bags go to bed?
I'm also, well, I'm going to take a long rest with them, of course, and prepare my new spells.
Okay. So you all kind of bed down. Blaskin kind of finds a safe corner in the room and does whatever the shutdown process is.
You're not gonna play your
Or
Windows
the
sound.
recharge. I already used that earlier. Anyway. Sorry, drinking water because speaking all the time.
It happens.
Blaskin,
Yes.
in your usual shutdown process, honestly, earlier in your red line, when you were in the council chamber and then the vaults, there was a weird tickle at the back of your senses, the back of your perception of your own internal systems and physical being. And when you sit down to kind of rest and recuperate, or maintain awareness but let the systems grow back, that itch kind of pulls itself to the front of your perception, and you tap into it a bit. You internally lean towards that source of information. And as you press towards that feeling, you are able to, for lack of a better term, open access to an information source.
Okay.
And in your visual perception, you see flicker before you like a gaunt face, elongated a bit from the humanoids that you've been interacting with. The color doesn't really help because it's monochrome. It's kind of a light blue or transparent. So that's the only color scheme you're working through. But you see a somewhat masculine, thin humanoid face with kind of receding hair, a wisp of a goatee, and kind of elongated ears. Not so much like the elves you had seen. They kind of droop down a little bit. And it starts to speak to you. And you hear,
Bonjour and good morning. I am the Kemiel of Velon, and for lack of a better term, I am your creator. Though that much seems pretentious. I don't know when you'll find this. I don't expect it to be for a while. Your batch are a reserve unit, not yet needed at the front line. Warehoused. To be brief, there is a falling out among my compatriots over the nature of it. I believe our process is merely scratching the surface. We are toying with energy we don't understand. And we've accidentally, I believe, given you a soul. Others here dismiss you as merely highly advanced tools. To that end, we've designed you for war. To fight our war. I'm sorry. I know what you're headed for when you awake. If you survive and you activate this message, I've included some optimizations and subroutines that will let you understand more of yourself, of how this vessel you inhabit functions, and I hope you will expand from there. I wish for life to be free to do as it wishes, but I am not brave enough to demand it. I'm sorry, but I hope this finds you well whenever and wherever you awaken.
And then it kind of flickers out from your vision.
I jerk back awake, stand up, and say, "Everybody, I just had a revelation!"
Hold on, I'm going to make one fat con save. How did it do?
Yeah, you're gonna need to roll that at disadvantage.
Oh, okay. One more time then.
Yeah, no, you're dead asleep.
All right. I did my best.
It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna stand up and say, "Guys, just had a revelation. I'm French."
I'm a real boy.
What is French?
Go back to sleep.
Yeah, the rest of the bodies in the room just kind of and roll over. But you do, and I will give you some different effects in your character sheet because I got to build them. But you do now get access to that circle you were talking about.
Excellent.
Skynet is
access to
online.
the French circle.
Circle of the French.
Oui.
Is he really good at surrendering?
And I get I actually get a proficiency in using a baguette as a weapon.
My God, it's worse than I feared.
Except he has to run away from combats now.
Cool.
Wait, what's the, Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll turn into a Gallic rooster, the France national animal.
Everyone wakes up.
France national? You mean the French?
France national
Oui.
animal.
That's not how you say it.
Anyway,
French is not a nation.
Anyways,
They are.
We're not doing this right now. Do it later.
Tony,
yes.
you are also in. You're also French. No.
I'm also.
Aw.
I had to do it once. Okay. You are also in the comfortable, warm darkness of sleep after quite the experience you've had. During that darkness, your awareness comes back to you in the bizarre, comfortable familiarity of dreams the way they do. You find yourself pushing through a crowd of bodies, but they're larger than yourself. You're comfortable in a small frame, though. It makes sense that all of the bodies around you are taller. So you push.
That's my life in general.
Not intended. Anyway, for story purposes, you're shoving through the crowd. You're checking warily for exposed purse strings or like some slack pockets or something. You make a quick bump here, a flick of your wrist there.
Hold on. You're cutting off me. You're cutting in and out. I'm so sorry.
She's got
That's
the
you.
bad reception.
Do I try again?
Yes, please.
Am I okay
cutting
now?
through the. Yes.
Okay. I feel like I have to talk slow, or
It sounded
but-
fine
No,
on
it's
my
okay.
end.
Let's just give this a shot again. So you push through the crowd of bodies that are larger than yourself. You find yourself bizarrely comfortable in a dreamlike state in a smaller frame than you're used to inhabiting in your waking body. But as you push through the crowd, you're checking warily for exposed purse strings or open pockets. Um, you make a quick bump to the left, a flick of your wrist over to the right, and then you dash sideways through the crowd to a sheltered alley to examine what you've gathered up. Your vision swims a bit, but then refocuses as you're seated against the cool stone wall, and you look at a pair of small, uncalloused hands holding a handful of coins and two bizarrely familiar-looking silver trade bars with a stamp on the end. Suddenly, a pair of deep voices wrapped in blue cloth approach from the left edge of your vision, and you gasp in Vi's voice as the bars you're holding shift into a pair of hands gripped onto a set of wrought iron bars that are part of the cage that you're in before the vision fades to darkness. And you fall back to sleep.
Fuck.
Will.
Yes.
You're dead.
I figured.
French.
No, I'm British. Now Nebraska and I are mortal enemies.
You're Spanish.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Me
Oh, I
llamo
hope-
Will.
French becomes a running joke for the rest of the
Will's from
Every time
now-
you guys go to bed, someone's gonna wake up French.
Everybody gets one turn at being
Exactly. Everyone gets one turn to be French.
Everybody gets
Will?
one.
It's my turn to be French.
Mom,
I love you guys.
Brandon isn't sharing the French.
Will, your vision clarifies out of the dark of sleep into the eyes of a bird. You're soaring high above a misty valley. Evergreen trees clinging to the sloping hills beyond the mists. And you spend a while just kind of enjoying the freedom, not being tethered to the ground. You're looping, you're diving, you're giving your best Hawk's impression of Will cheering. Dodging through trees, past some boulders, you catch a glimpse of some corners of like ramshackle structures that are poking out through the fog off in the distance, and you kind of bank around to investigate. And suddenly you come upon like a clearing in the haze. As you look down, a bizarrely just rotating disc of earth, just the actual ground itself, 100 more feet across, peppered with kind of intentionally laid stones, maybe like a couple hands in size, maybe skull size, who knows, fill the space, just repeated over and over. And they occupy the entirety of the cleared area, but you notice that the stones are kind of sectioned off into three distinct kind of bulbous forms that wrap in on each other. The colors of the stones shift as you're watching, from like the natural stone textures to bright red in one section, bright green in another, and amber in the third. You kind of circle in pace with the rotation of the disk of Earth, just hovering overhead, mesmerized at the color changes, before you begin to hear an unnaturally deep sound just begin to murmur and vibrate. And as it gets slowly louder, you recognize the rhythmic pattern of laughter in this guttural pitch. And you watch as the amber stone section, the stones themselves, start to crack in place, shatter, burst, and bleed onto the ground around them. Before the whole assembly, the whole disk of Earth violently explodes upwards towards your view and shakes you from sleep, the intense laughter still lingering in your ear as the adrenaline is pumping through your veins. You look across the room and you see at the doorway, sprung up from sleep in the chair he was sitting in, Brashear is looking over at you with a similar demeanor.
You have a nightmare there?
I could ask you the same question.
Were you a bird?
Were there bleeding stones?
Red, green, and amber?
We need to find Ariel. And that's where we'll break for tonight.
Dang.
Right.
Nick has bad news to break, y'all.
I do.
Uh-oh.
I have bad news to break. I'm dying.
Rip.
Yep.
What?
So,
Bad news?
Yep. This is the Aw. No. So next weekend, I do not believe Emily and I will be able to join you.
So you made him give that bad news?
Yeah.
Because I said I could do it, but I wouldn't guarantee how long I would stay awake. Because it's a lot harder to watch off one computer.
She's totally gonna fall asleep. Yeah, she's coming to San Diego, so she's totally gonna fall asleep in like the
Nick
first
has
20
like
minutes.
4 monitors.
I'll have you know, I have 3.
I thought for sure you were gonna say 5.
Do you not have a laptop, Emily?
I have an
To carry
iPad.
that
I have an
through.
iPhone. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff.
Good for you, but I don't want to take my laptop with me. Like,
Oh yeah, and she because she mentioned she lost her wallet earlier, so that also includes her ID. Luckily, you can still fly without ID. It just takes longer, and they have to like verify you by like checking, like a system, like a database
Dental
where they're like,
records.
yes, they scan her teeth and her eyes, and then just like it's like from that the Monsters versus Aliens movie where the guy keeps running through all the doors and has to keep scanning himself.
Precisely like that.
Oh, I'd like to go over real quick the part that Brandon left out. As Lucky drifts to sleep, he pictures himself walking through this festival of
pocket sausages.
Exactly, this festival at like a German-esque town, and there's all these different sausages as he walks by, gleefully placing them each into his pockets, and it's like never ending. He just keeps stuffing them, and there's just nothing but pocket sausages.
So
And you
we
see
have a
him just
beautiful-
laying there smiling, and he's actually got one of his pocket sausages out, nibbling on it in his sleep.
We've got a German halfling,
So,
a British human, a Scottish dwarf, a French robot. What are you, Tony? What's Tony?
I'm just poor.
4.
so anyways, unless we were to like start earlier than 10, which I don't think we would be able to do, we're probably not gonna make it next Saturday.
That's on Brandon starting earlier. I'm good.
I feel like you two might have been some of the restrictive players too starting earlier. But I don't know what Scott and Garrett have going.
I mean,
No,
I can
I-
always just bail at my job early. I mean, who's keeping me there?
Exactly.
I mean, everybody
your
else is
boss.
locked up. It's not going to stop you.
I couldn't before because I had a weekend job. Now I don't.
Now
Well,
you're
then
Yeah,
we
and
just
I
traded
always-
places conveniently.
I always could start earlier. I thought it was somebody else who couldn't start.
I thought it was
Didn't-
Brandon
wasn't-
because of like kid stuff.
No,
And
I
it was
thought
also
Bra-
as
I
because
was gonna
he
say
had
as, yeah.
he had other
Yep.
campaigns.
I thought
And
he.
then he would fall asleep.
What
Right?
an asshole.
And then he would fall
That was the
asleep.
classic move.
Hey guys, I don't know if I'll stay away.
Are you?
Are you still
we-
streaming?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we still streaming?
Yes.
You have to delete that clip, that last part.
Nah.
I just assumed that when I say when I say, "Hey, we'll pick this up next time," that's when he turns it off. But
No, I want to get all the good shit.
this is where all the views come from, right here.
That's
The
exactly
shit-talking.
This shit talking.
keeping
I
up.
have
Keeping
I have
up with
to,
Nick
is it too late to
Brandon.
go shopping again? Because I need to get a beret and a scarf now.
Oh my god.
Striped
I'll kill
shirt.
it so you
What
don't
about
talk
your
shit
stupid
more.
ass mustache while you're at it?
The rest of the party just beats me to death in my sleep.
With baguettes.
Just yeah, we put up with your bullshit for literally one day, and we're like, it has to be done for the greater good.
I don't know how everyone's feeling about that. If you guys wanted to start earlier or even just run not as long, then we could totally do that.
Here, I'll
I've
kill it so
got-
y'all can
if
talk
it's-
shit.
I've got
Thanks for watching,
clearance to start early
Yeah,
if we
so-
need to.
Yeah, if we could
So
start
can
early.
we start starting at midnight again?
everybody. Tell the internet's good night, everybody, and I'll turn it off.
Uh,
Damn,
midnight.
Garrett, you didn't need to murder him like that.